Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass live and in living color here with you tonight, only on Grande's Graveyard. And yes, my friends, tonight we are not just Clerks. Tonight it is not our boyhood. Tonight we are not SLC Punk rockers. No, tonight this is the golden tag team right here. One of my favorite people in the whole wide world to shoot the breeze and talk the shit with. One of my best friends in the wonderful world of YouTube. I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend, the Alpha Romero.
What's going on, What's up, everybody? What's up, man? Thanks for having me. Always a blast. Always down to come on anytime you want. Talk about whatever you want. And I was really glad that you invited me on to talk about these movies because these are some of my all-time favorite movies. One in particular is probably, well, I'd say, shit. Well, one of them, that was my choice. I mean, that'll be an interesting back and forth. That'll be interesting because I rewatched that thing again last night and I forgot how goddamn long that movie is, but I got through it. But man, Clerks, SLC Punk are like two of my all-time favorite movies ever. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, no, I would second that too. And you know, the big idea I had behind this stream was I was for a few months kind of trying to target a week where I would do counterculture / coming of age movies because I've done top 10 coming of age episodes on here. And I reached out to you because I was like, you know what? Of all the people I would love to know like their thoughts on some of these movies, it would be you. And I had messaged you on one of your live shows. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to Alpha Romero. He's a renaissance man as of late. You are literally everywhere. Like I turn on this app and you are on some channel. Like if it's not with your own channel, it's with me. If it's not with me, it's with the gentleman over that review the Rumor magazine editions.
Yeah,
those guys are very nice. What's the name of their show again, Alpha?
Revival House.
Revival
House. Yeah.
They're really nice guys, and you know, you've been making appearances on there as of late. And I was like, man, I gotta get him back on. And I was like, I don't really want to talk horror. Like that's the thing. Like you're almost in a way pigeonholed sometimes. Whereas in the graveyard, the gates are open to talk about anything and everything that you want. So
yeah, everybody ends up in the graveyard. Horror, comedy. You know, we all end up in the graveyard. So we can talk about whatever the hell we want. But yeah, man, I got a busy next 3 days. With you tonight. Tomorrow night, another Inside Rue Morgue over on Revival House. We're going to be talking about the new Evil Dead. Sorry, guys. If you guys hear people screaming and yelling and dogs barking, it's 7 o'clock in my house. It's basically prime circus time for me. So, as you can hear, people are not being killed, I promise, but that I know of. But yeah, tomorrow night, Inside Rue Morgue over on Revival House channel. Check them out at Revival House. And then Saturday night, I'll be doing a Document of the Dead fan commentary. So gearing up for Living Dead weekend. So that'll be fun. So yeah, I got a busy few days here.
I was gonna say that's quite a lineup right there. So I hope we can kick it off with some style and class, if you will. But let me ask. I know that this is probably going to be the last big Living Dead weekend that they do. Obviously, I know they still may do like a smaller show in October, but this seems like it's going to be the last big one. And they've announced guests that I was floored by. Are there any that are you can't wait, like you're on pins and needles to meet, that have been announced already, or any that you possibly want them to announce coming up?
Oh yeah, I mean, Jim Bafko is a big one. Wooly from Dawn of the Dead. He hasn't done a convention in 25 years or so. He just
wow, that long.
Yeah, he's been asked many times, but has always turned it down. Wasn't interested, and then finally this year he decided, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So him and his wife, Joey Bafko, who's one of the zombies. She's the zombie in Dawn of the Dead when they're trying to hotwire the car and Roger's got his leg dangling out, and she's the zombie that digs into Roger's leg and then gets the rifle blast to the head from Peter. So they'll both be there. I'm excited to meet both of them. Mike Christopher, the Harry Krishna zombie, is one that I've actually never met. He used to do a lot of cons back in the day, but I never got to meet him. But he's finally agreed to. I think this will be his first Living Dead weekend in 7 or 8 years, I think. So.
Oh wow, okay, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's really cool. I'm excited for you. I know, like there were certain guests.
We're in the graveyard. There is screams and yells coming from the distance here. I apologize, guys, if you hear this, but goddamn, hang on, everybody. Hang on. I'm going to try to mute as much as I can, but sorry.
No, don't be sorry at all, man. The graveyard gates are open to the entire Alpha Romero family, so I just have to say that right off the bat. No problem at all. But I'm happy to have you on here, and I'm obviously, stoked to talk about some of these movies with you because, man, it's been, a long time since I actually had revisited most of these. I actually got to see SLC Punk in the movies this past Saturday night.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that was why I
I was
targeted that. I was like,
jealous.
I want to do this week because I'm going to do show prep in the movie theater. Like, how fun will that be? So I'm very excited. Let's see the graveyard chat. They're already bumping at the gates. Ciao, Grande and Alpha. Hello, Graveyardians. Welcome to see. Hope all's well with you. We got Iron Sabbath 1188. Arthur's in the house. Am I supposed to even be here today? Yes, you're supposed to be here today, my friend. Or am I just supposed to drink this coffee hot? Welcome, Arthur. We got Ryan, the Hitman Hanley. What's up, Grande and Graveyard? Welcome, Ryan. Hope all's well with you, buddy. We got Michelle Parsons, 4613, all the way from Nova Scotia. Hey, Grande and Mike and the Graveyard. Welcome, Michelle. Hope all's well with you. We got Anthony Chabot, does pop cultures, JZ7JR. Yo, buddy. By the way, saw Mortal Kombat 2, and next up, Mando and Gru, and He-Man, Scary Movie, and Supergirl. Holy shit! I don't think you got enough movies coming up to watch, my friend.
Is it
Triple H.
Chabot? Is it Chabot?
I used to say Chobot, but it's
That's
Chabot.
what I was. Anthony Chobot. Just go with Chobot, dude. That sounds better.
Well, he's right by. He's in Queens. He lives right by me.
Oh,
I've been
okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I've messaged him a few times. I'm like, yo, I'm in Ridgewood getting pizza. Where the hell are you at? And he's like, I'm at home, man. Like, what?
He's probably watching movies.
He's working on his memoirs. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got Triple H, Horrorhead Heather 85. Hey, Grande. Good to see you, Alpha Romero. Hey, Miss C. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Anthony. We're all saying hi to one another. We got Mateo is here. Ciao, Grande and Alpha. Love Clerks. Something so ahead of its time. Really like Kevin Smith opinions on 2 and 3. Hi to the whole graveyard. I mean, I definitely was wanting. That was one of my questions for you. We could talk about later, obviously, what we think of Kevin Smith now, because I'm so curious to hear what you have to say about that. But I mean, we can give quick opinions on 2 and 3. Do you like Clerks 2 or 3?
I love Clerks 2. Clerks 2 is one of the best sequels ever, in my opinion. I think it's the perfect sequel for a movie like Clerks. Clerks is a movie you can't redo and try to capture that magic again. So Kevin went in another direction. He, as he matured as a filmmaker, matured as a person. I love Clerks too. I think it's equally as funny. Like the dialogue, loved it. 3, I have quite a few issues with. For one, 3 is not funny at all. Like there's no comedy at all in 3. Like it tries, but it's like, no, it's false. It's hard to be funny in a movie where everybody is dying of heart attacks all the time. Like everybody's dead and Clerks 3, and it's just depressing, but it is effective in that way. If you're a fan of Clerks, if you grew up with Clerks and these characters, by the time you get to part 3, it's like, God, I don't want to see this. Like, it's really depressing. It is effective in that way, but it's not a funny movie by any means.
Yeah, I would second what you say about Clerks 2. I really enjoy Clerks 2 a lot. I think it's funny. I think it has a lot of heart. It has that great raindrops are falling on my head when they go-kart around. And I don't know, that movie,
the Jackson 5 dance sequence. Yes, just like, this is so over the head. I remember seeing that in the theater when it came out too, and like people in the aisles laughing. Like I was with my buddy. I've never heard him laugh so loud in my life when they got to various scenes, and I'm just like, holy shit, like this is working. It was a great theater experience when it first came out.
See, I'm jealous you got to see that in the movie theater. That's one of those movies I rented and I thought was going to suck based on the DVD cover. I thought the DVD cover that was the cheap. I was like, what the fuck is this? It looks like a Laugh-A-Palooza cover. I'm like, what the fuck? And then the movie was really good. I was like, oh, wow. All right. I'm just never been so happy to be, not, judge the movie by its cover, I guess. Clerks 3, I got an admission. I've never bothered. I was against it. I've been told by numerous people that the older you are, the more you'd appreciate it. And I was like, I don't know about that, man. I've been told I'm an old soul, but I don't know, man. I've stayed away.
I think it's just the content, like what 3 is about. It's really just about getting old and dying, and realizing that time is running out. But there is something kind of clever to it that I kind of like, because Clerks 3 is basically just a dramatic retelling of the making of Clerks, which I really appreciated, because as we'll talk about here in a second, Clerks, like the story behind how Clerks was made, was one of the most like inspirational stories for me personally, as somebody growing up wanting to be a filmmaker, like the making of Clerks means just as much to me as the movie itself. So seeing in part three, almost like a dramatic version of that, was kind of cool because it was pretty. If you know the story of the making of Clerks, you've pretty much seen Clerks 3, but it's very meta. It's kind of clever in that way. But in terms of like laughs, like I recently just watched that again maybe a month ago, and I can't remember like laughing once. I saw it in the theaters, I don't remember laughing once, but I remember crying because it is fucking depressing. But I would recommend checking it out if you like the first two and you just want to see where they're at now. Yeah, why not?
I go pay to see them have heart attacks. I don't know. I can't justify it. Maybe call me crazy, but I don't know. I'm not in any rush.
If you don't, you're not missing much, but
that's good. I'm sure. I would hope it's better than shit like Yoga Hosers and Tusk and some of the other movies that he did, but I don't.
It's better than Yoga Hosers. Tusk is one that I just can't get a grip on because I love the one he did before Tusk, Red State.
I like Red State too.
I think Red State's fucking genius. I just didn't expect that from Kevin Smith. And Tusk is one that I'm just kind of like, do I like this? Not really, but do I appreciate it? Do I appreciate Kevin Smith being fucking weird like this? Like, kinda. Yoga Hosers was just like unwatchable. So yeah, it's watchable at least.
And so was that bad. He did some horrible NFT anthology, like Kilroy was here, but we'll talk. Yeah, I didn't bother either. I don't know. Everyone does end up in the graveyard. Nice tagline. I like it. That would be great. Like if I just put that on a t-shirt, like you're going to die.
Or like Angus Scrimm is like, when you die, you come to me. You come to the graveyard.
It's me and Angus like opening up the gates. It's like each one of us.
There you go.
The gates. That would be amazing. I'm sure Matt Landrum would sign up for that shirt. He would be the first pre-order. Michelle Parsons 4613 says, "Grande, you need to come to Living Dead weekend. This is my public plea. Used to my deal, but yes, no one has pushed me harder to do anything in my life than Michelle has pushed me to want to come to this. I promise if I change my mind, I will let you all know because I had such a good time the last time. I posted today for like a promo for this was me and you under the Dark Side Bridge that you were cool enough to take us to, and that was just a great day. We were seeing Dawn in the movies and met so many people, so many nice people, man. Frankie, one of the nicest people.
Frankie's cool.
Got to meet Will. I didn't even know Will was going to be there until I walked up to you guys.
And it spawned one of my favorite impressions that you do. The Will impression.
Is it really one of your favorite impressions I do?
Dude, you did that one night for the first time I heard it, and I was in tears laughing. I was like, oh my God, that's fucking spot on.
He's great. He's the thing about him is he's a one-on-one. There's nobody like I was sitting in the car with him, just listening to him talk about story. I'm like, my God, there's nobody like this guy. He is like, to quote Jason Mewes, this guy's a fucking character. Like he really is.
He is.
It's a real life character. I don't know. Good people, though. I hope he's doing well. I love Jay and Silent Bob. Such fun ass characters. Yeah, we love them too. We're going to get all into that stuff. Family friendly graveyard here until Grande goes on a rant. Well, we're going to try to stay away from the rants tonight. At least I will. Clerks is one of my top comedies of all time. I like Clerks 2 and 3. 3 made us ball. Okay. Merns is in the house, straight out of Italy. Merns was just in Italy touring the entire world here. What's up, Graveyard family? Grande and Alpha in the house. Hell yeah, man. I think Kevin Smith used his experience with his massive heart. Yes, that's right. And like that part of it, I can say like, okay, that's really cool. He was able to make a positive or a movie out of such a negative experience, and he's bettered his health and stuff like that. So my hat's off to him with that. What's up, Graveyard fam? Dr. Howdy 6664. What's up, buddy? People saying hi to one another. All right, so we're all here. I just want to say cheers to the greatest YouTube fans in the whole land. Cheers. I got a boring
cheers.
Red rum.
I got my red rum mug that I got at the Stanley Motel or the Stanley Hotel when we stayed there in Colorado. So.
Oh no shit! I never knew you went to that. How was that?
It was awful. The rooms, like I get it. It's like they shot Dumb and Dumber there, which was cool to see. Like some of the stuff from Dumb and Dumber is based, The Shining was based off of. They shot the Shining television series there, which who gives a shit about that? But it's it's supposed to be it's supposed to be like a haunted hotel and all that, and they have like tours going through the halls at all hours of the fucking night. But the rooms themselves, it was really expensive. The rooms were really small. They didn't have air conditioning. It was just but it was one of those things that we stayed for one night, and it was just like, all right, well, we did that. Let's
You
get out
did
of here.
that and you got the mug. You suffered through enough, and
I
hopefully
got
the
a
mug
mug. Let's
is.
get out of here.
There you go. There you go. But all right, I figure we go in chronological order. If that's okay with you, we'll go from 94, 98 to 2014 with these three movies tonight. Of course, we'll be reviewing Clerks, SLC Punk, and the Alpha Romero choice, Boyhood from 2014. I know that I have some false advertising in this thumbnail. I'm so sorry about that. I made it like days before he told me Boyhood, and I just never bothered to change it because I thought the thumbnail was just perfect the way it was. But yeah, we can kick this show off in 1994 with a little movie that could, an independent film that I agree with you when you said it's so inspiring. You know, as a fellow film fan and fellow wannabe filmmaker, you know, this is a movie that really inspired me to go after my dreams and, you know, help me come of age at a time where I was going through college. This movie right here from 94, I'm talking about Clerks. Brief plot synopsis. A day in the lives of two convenience clerks named Dante and Randall as they annoy customers, discuss movies, and play hockey on the store roof. Ah, man, Michael, can you tell me the first time you saw Clerks and, you know, possible memories of that initial viewing?
I don't really remember the first time that I saw Clerks. I will say I remember seeing, I think the first of the like the Askewniverse movies that I saw was, I want to say it was Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And of course, that's just, you know, it's like a stoner comedy, buddy comedy, road movie. And, you know, for young 12, 13-year-old me, like, oh, this is hilarious. Like, oh, they're stoned and they do all these wacky shit. But then I always kept hearing about Clerks. And I remember seeing like the cover and stuff at Blockbuster and thinking like, oh, what is this? Like this looks, you know, yeah, it looks pretty cheap and rough. But I always heard that like Jay and Silent Bob were in it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll check it out because I like Jay and Silent Bob. And I think I may have seen Dogma before it too. But then when I saw Clerks, like it just completely changed like everything for me. Like the way I looked at comedy. It was one of those movies that when I first saw it, I immediately had to show it to everybody I knew. I was
Right.
like, oh my God, have you seen this movie? It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And like girlfriends, best friends, whatever, we got to watch Clerks. And it was one of those movies that everybody became so enamored with. And this was, you know, close to a decade after the movie had originally come out. Like this is early 2000s before I discovered it. And it still worked. It still spoke to my generation. Um, but yeah, I just remember seeing it and was just blown away just by the dialogue. It's just the comedy, the way that they talked. It just seemed real. It seemed like a realistic. It seemed like the way that me and my friends talk. You know, so it was just a complete breath of fresh air.
Yeah, no, and I'd second everything you said about, you know, what the movie meant to me. And it's funny, kind of how I fell into it was Mallrats was the one I first saw because obviously I have a thing for movies that are set in malls, Alpha. You may be shocked to hear that. But I saw Mallrats and I was like, man, I love this movie. This is so good. Like, what else has this guy done? And I saw there was one feature film prior, and I said, oh man, that's the one I got to target. That's the one I got to get. And this was around my high school days, probably 11th, 12th grade. And I watched Clerks, and it moved me. I thought it was so good because not only is it a great comedy, and not only, like you said, does it have the great dialogue and the genuine blue collar feel to it. I think also there's so many different things going on in a movie that's essentially about nothing, yet it's about everything at the same time. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, there's something about all the acting performances in this movie too that it almost feels beyond organic. It's almost like they didn't know how to act, so they just went up there and did whatever they could, and it somehow became the most genuine thing about the movie. And I mean, I love Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson together. I think those two and their chemistry in this movie is a big reason why I always go back and rewatch it. It's because they kind of carry this thing, like, and their friendship just, oh my God, it's just some great stuff. And I had a hard time believing they weren't best friends in real life. Like, I was like shocked when I heard that. I was like, really? You know, one of those like kayfabe things I wish was not a kayfabe thing. I wish they were actually best friends as a shoot, but man, they're two are just money in this movie together.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think too that Jeff Anderson wasn't even an actor. Like, yeah, they were all local actors. Like Brian O'Halloran was a local actor, Marilyn Gigliotti was a local actor, but Jeff Anderson was just there. Like, he just showed up to the, you know, the uh, not rehearsals, but
Audition.
audition. There you go. Showed up to the auditions, just to show up to see what the hell's going on. Somebody's making a movie here in New Jersey. No friggin' way. And he just got up to read. I think he originally read for, I think it was it. Can't remember what character he originally read for, but something about the way that he, like his cadence and the way that he talked. Kevin was like, I think try this Dante character. Try this, and it just worked so well. He just became like, I guess when you see Jeff Anderson too, like in documentaries and interviews and stuff like that, he is kind of like that character. He is kind of sarcastic and kind of has that, that twang to his voice, So it's just perfect. It's weird how a movie, and it's so hard to do. This movie is such a lightning in a bottle movie.
Yes.
To cast locally in an area that, isn't known for filmmaking or acting or anything like that, but for a movie to be so perfectly cast and drawing from such a small pool of actors and people to work with, it's like, yeah, lightning in a bottle. Just in the chemistry between him and Brian O'Halloran, it was like the chemistry between two seasoned actors. It was like watching, Pacino and De Niro and Heat or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, wow, what great acting.
Yeah, no, and I think too, the fact that they all didn't really look suave or Hollywood or sparkly, right? These look like your modern day everyday people that might work at a convenience store or a video store, what have you. And I think the thing that's so inspiring about Clerks 2 is the fact that, Kevin Smith had seen Slacker, which was, funny enough, directed by Richard Linklater, who we will be talking about one of his movies at the end of the show. He saw Slacker, and that's a movie essentially about a guy just walking around and talking to people for an hour and a half. And he saw that and said, I can make a movie like this. I can totally do this. So he went to film school. He met Scott Mosier, who would go on to produce a ton of his films and help him produce the View Askew universe and all that. And then obviously the idea for Clerks, he was working in this convenience store and would shoot overnight. And all the stories, right? Maxed out the mom's credit card, shot it in black and white to save money on the film coloring, right? Use all these local actors. That to me that's filmmaking. Like, I love that. That's and you being big George Romero fan such as I, it's not too much unlike what George did with Dawn of the Night of Living Dead. Night of Living Dead is so much like that. Not a lot of those people, other than Dwayne Jones, were really actors. So to get them all together to capture lightning in a bottle and kind of say something so important while having so little at your disposal via resources, I think is one of the best things about Clerks. It's so small, yet it's also so big at the same time. It's really accentuating positives, hiding negatives in the best way. And Kevin Smith may not be the best director from a visual standpoint, but I thought he was a tremendous writer. And I still think that to this day. I think Kevin Smith's one of the best writers that I've ever seen, really, to be honest. I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, he has just a unique, distinctive voice that really hits me. Like, I don't know, something about him that I just really like from the writing standpoint too.
Yeah, I will take umbrage with the fact that people say, and Kevin always jokes about this too, that he's a shitty director, great writer, but I think he's a great director too. I think part of directing isn't about, let's have this fancy shot, or it's never. That's really secondary. What's really important when it comes to directing actors, especially, is getting more out of your actor than what you probably should be able to. And I think that's Clark's is, like we were talking about, a perfect example of that. Like, a great director should be able to pull those performances out of people who wouldn't normally give those type of performances. Like, to take a guy like Jeff Anderson, who had no interest in acting, wasn't an actor, and make him feel so natural with great dialogue, like great long monologues and lines, and just the way that he communicates. I guess you could say he's a great writer and a great communicator between director actor. I think that's a good way to look at it. He knows how to convey what he wants from the actors to put them in the best spotlight, to make them look their best, to make it come out as natural as possible. Yeah, I mean, most of the movie is just, a two shot of, two people standing there talking, but it works. It works. Like, if the movie was anything more than that, I don't think it would have worked quite as well. And it would probably, it would have failed. I think if they tried to do more than what they were, capable of. And I think Kevin knew and has always known his shortcomings. No, yes, he's tried, some things outside that didn't quite work, and then he realized, oh shit, let me go back to the well, which is the name of the documentary from Clerks too. He tries Cop Out, or he tries different, and it doesn't work, and he's like,
Jersey
okay,
Girl.
well, I mean, Jersey Girl, I like Jersey Girl though, um, but he just goes, he knows where his shortcomings are, and he just, like you said, accentuates the positives, hides the negatives, and I think that's the sign of a great director. People could say the similar thing about George, and you mentioned Night of the Living Dead. I mean, Clerks, the story of the making of Clerks, like you said, was just so inspirational to somebody. It makes you want to get a bunch of credit cards, max them out,
Right.
sell off your comic book collection, and finance your own movie, make your own dreams come true, like, and yeah, it's a 1 in a million shot that it works out. It's a lightning in a bottle thing. Um, but you never know unless you do it. And I always loved when Kevin would talk about his movies, or, he'd be doing like, the evening with Kevin Smiths or something like that. He would always say, you know, go for it. Why not? Like, there's nobody stopping you. Just do it. And if it doesn't work out, hey, that at least you don't have that regret when you're sitting on, when you're laying in your deathbed at the end of your life. You can say, hey, fuck it, I tried. Most people don't even do that. So
Exactly. It's always worth it to give it a try, whether you fail miserably or succeed in flying colors like this movie did. Because this, again, when I say this is a little movie that could, there's really no doubt about it. Like, this is one of those types of movies that I think, it was seen by, I think, 3 people in one of its initial screenings. And one of those people happened to be a bigwig, and he showed it to this person. They showed it to that person, until it got all the way to Miramax and the Weinsteins, which we're not fans of the Weinsteins at all. But obviously they saw it, and they saw enough in it to, put it out. And the movie, made a good enough chunk of change, considering it was made for under 30 grand. And I don't know,
yeah,
like, to me,
27,000. That's
yeah,
crazy. 27 grand.
27 grand, and they made millions. Like, that's really cool. And I don't know, to me, the thing that always keeps me going back to Clerks, there's like I said, there's so many themes in it, but to me, the beauty of it is it's a movie about friendship. I think that their friendship, and the whole relatability of working a dead end job, right? I've worked quite a few dead end jobs in my life, right? Whether it be office jobs, security jobs, what have you. I mean, I've been there, and I see a lot of the craziness that they deal with on a day in, day out basis, but it's the people that help you get through it, like a Randall, like some of these crazy characters that come around every now and again, like Jay and Silent Bob. And something about that just endears me to this movie. It's very endearing, is Clerks. Like, I could see so much relatability, and if I could see relatability, I'm sure there are so many other people that can too. It's I think fairly relatable, and all the conversations feel like real conversations, right? The movie, the Empire or Return of the Jedi, that whole thing, the
Yeah.
whole. I'm 37, in a row. That whole, where they're talking about how many people have you slept
In a
with
row?
in a row, and hey, get back here. All that stuff, man. It feels so genuine, and like that to me it's beautiful, man.
And it goes back to, what they always say, right? What I mean, Kevin Smith worked at a convenience store, and he just pretty much wrote a movie about his life, what his life was like. He working at a convenience store, hanging out with his buddies and talking. And this is how they talk. They talk movies, they talk pop culture, they bust each other's balls. And he just made a movie about that. He didn't try to go beyond the spectrum of, what he knew, what he could do. And it resonates. It really does. And still to this day, I think it resonates with this generation, especially the whole idea of like being in your 20s and not knowing what you want to do, where you want to go, being stuck, thinking like, oh fuck, I'm going to work at this convenience store for the rest of my life. I got to go back to school. I got to do this, got to do that. And yeah, I think that'll always play with an audience.
Yes, and I completely, yeah. I kind of had a similar thing with it. Now, I was in high school when I first watched the movie, but I left it alone for years. I didn't watch it until I was in senior year of college, and I was about, I think, 21, 22, somewhere in that ballpark at that time. And the characters in this movie are 22. And I was like, man, it might be a good time to go back and revisit Clerks. Because I remember it was my senior year. I was stressed. I was worried. I was concerned about all these things that were to come in my life. And I remember it was a Monday night. I just sat down and I was just stressed out of my mind. And I put this movie on. And not only did I laugh, not only did I smile, not only was I endeared, but I told myself it's going to be okay. Like, you have these saving graces in your life, you know, that you can call friends, that you can call family, and like that to me is the beautiful thing about Clerks. And like to me, the best thing in this is that final shot where they're talking in the store together, and he says, "You're gonna be here tomorrow, same time, same place, and we're closed. Wrangle at the door for me, right?" Like it was a miserable day, it was some horrible shit. I wasn't supposed to be here today. People dying, people having sex in the bathroom, you know, playing hockey on the roof, all that stuff. I don't know what it is about this movie, but it's for whatever reason, it never loses its rewatchability factor, and it's really timeless, I think.
Yeah. Is my connection okay?
Yeah, your connection's fine. Why? Is somebody saying
Okay.
your connection's no good?
No. I just keep kind of freezing up here and there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's not
And
good.
but I can't tell if it's on my end or not, because I keep having this issue with my internet here recently, and I just want to
So
make
far,
sure.
you played pretty good. I've been pretty good. I don't know if
Okay.
any of the viewers can confirm either way, but let me ask you about some of the comedic sequences in this movie, because it really is laugh out loud. Like this is it. Despite how many times I've seen it now, it always remains hysterical. Do you have any like specific comedic scenes that you like think are some of the best in this?
I mean there's so many, like, it's not even like scenes. It's just like little lines or bits of dialogue, or just the way, you know, Randall will say something. It's all those little quotable things that just stick with you forever. I mean, the 37 scene, there's always that great story about when they were trying to sell the movie to Miramax, and they kept trying to show it to old Harvey Weinstein. And they kept trying to show it to him, and he was like, "I'm not interested." He would always leave after the smoking scene, because he I guess was a chain smoker at the time, so that he always was just like, fuck this movie, but they finally get to that scene where it's 37, and that's what sold him. All of a sudden he was just like, oh my god, this is the greatest movie ever. Like that was kind of the turning point for me watching Clerks, was that scene. I was just like, oh my god, they went there. Because really, I think 94, I mean, just it was so crude for its time too. Like even in 1994, like just the way that they talked about sex and all kinds of stuff. The conversation about when in the car where they're talking about the guy they knew who broke his neck trying to suck his own dick. And he's like, I never tried to suck my own dick. And he's just like, really? Come on, don't be so repressed. Just admit it. You've tried. We've all tried it. And he's like, okay, all right. One time I did. I tried it. I could never get all the way. And he's like, you tried to suck your own dick?
Pervert.
Yeah. Like there's just so many scenes in that movie. God, I name them. Like
I love the
fucking
scene where Randall's in the video store and he's on the phone ordering tapes, and the young mother and the daughter and the son or the daughter come in, and she says, "Hey, do you have this movie? It's something Choo Choo Train." And he goes, "Oh, hold on one sec," and he's on the
Happy
phone.
Scrappy Hero Pup.
And he's reading all these hermaphrodites for
my favorite. My favorite title that he lists off, I don't know why, but this one always cracks me up every time he says it. Coming in socks. Like not just coming in a sock, but coming in multiple socks. And it's like coming in socks.
There's also a quick come on, Eileen.
Yeah.
See you.
Big black dicks with pearly white cum. And oh yeah, all holes filled with hard cock. Oh, and what was that one you wanted again?
Yeah, he goes, "Oh, wait a minute, what was that one you wanted?" Like, I love. Oh my god, it's the perfect. And also the look at the customers, right? He's talking about, if somewhere there's the carton of milk in the back that'll never expire. It's just it's Kevin Smith's mom pulling out all the stuff, and hey, do you guys have new movies to rent here? And then it's just a big banner behind her. It says new movies. Hey, what are they?
You guys sell hubcaps for a 72 Pinto hatchback? Ooh, Mini Trucker Magazine. Like, yeah, just it's little stupid shit. And those are obviously not actors, just random people they grabbed to just do these lines on camera. And it fucking works. I mean, the video store scene where Randall's sitting there ignoring the woman, she's like, "Are any of these any good?" And he's just like, "They suck." She's like, "You didn't even look. You don't know it." And he's just like, "I don't appreciate your ruse, ma'am."
Just then he defines it. Your cunning attempt to trick me.
It's just like, And we haven't even talked about Jay and Silent Bob. Like their use in this movie, like, is the berserker. Like, come on, like the berserker scenes. Like, come
Would
on,
you like to make the fuck berserker? Did
berserker.
you just say make the fuck? And I love that edit. They just get such a hard edit, like to the all right, move on now. But look, Jason and Bob, isn't it amazing that they became pretty much pop culture icons? It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and Jason Mewes, not an actor at all. He was just a friend of Kevin's that they thought was funny. It's like you said, it's kind of like Will. He just says the most outlandish, off the wall shit. And it's funny because Will is a good comparison for Jason Mewes, because when you get Will, like you saw on his own, like the dude says the most outrageous fucking craziest shit in the world, but as soon as, like, if I have him on the channel or something like that, he gets real quiet and he's just very polite.
That's a great point. He's not the same guy on camera as he is.
Yeah,
It's so true.
But man, you get him out here. But that's how Jason Mewes was in Clerks. Like, he was just this wild guy saying the craziest shit, had the craziest stories. But as soon as Kevin would, turn the camera on, he would just clam up. He would be real shy. There's the story about, which is this scene's actually in Clerks 3, with a scene where, Jason Mewes has to, dance, and he wouldn't dance while everybody was out there watching, or they had to go inside. And Kevin's just like, dude, you do this all the time anyway.
Right.
Like, it just pretend like there's no camera here and you're just being, and he's just like, dude, I can't do it. You got to go. So Kevin just turns the camera on and everybody leaves and goes inside so he can dance, But yeah, I mean, just a guy that wasn't, just one of Kevin's crazy friends that hung out with him and Walt and Brian Johnson at the rec center, and Kevin was like, dude, you got to be in this movie. You're basically going to play yourself. And he's like, I can't do that.
Mewes' whole story always got me too. Like, this was a guy where his mom was a severe drug addict and would do some terrible things, like put him in the closet for days, would make him try to steal things. And, obviously he had his own issues with substance abuse as well. And thankfully, from what I understand now, he's doing better. But yeah, like Kevin always tells the story where they were in that rec center and Mewes was pretending to suck off things, just anything he could get his hands on. And he said he like each thing got progressively more ridiculous, and he was like, this has got to be, Jay. This has got to be Jay. And then we need the sidekick that doesn't say anything but has the big presence in Silent Bob. But obviously when the time comes and when the chips are down, like the gimmick of Silent Bob is to say the most important line of the movie, whether it be this, whether it be a chasing Amy, or whether it be,
well, that was originally supposed to be Jason Mewes' line, but Jason couldn't pull it off. So finally, right, Kevin just said, fuck it, I'll do it. All right, just shut up. Because he couldn't pull it off. You could tell even in that scene when he's doing, like, because I think this was a flub too, but they kept it in, when Jason's like, my grandma used to say, what's a good plate? Fucked up.
Yeah, I fucked up.
What's a good plate with nothing on it, or something like, I don't know, man. She used to be senile and she used to piss herself all the time. I think of that all the fucking time. That's one of those lines. It's like, what's a good plate with nothing on it? I think the line is actually supposed to be, what good is a plate with nothing on it? But he says, what's a good plate with nothing on it? But they kept it in there because it's, it's fucking Jay. Nobody's gonna know any difference. They just think he's high anyway, so who cares?
Exactly. Yeah. And I like how he catches himself, like, I fucked up, and he keeps going, and that felt like the most organic take.
Exactly. It felt real. It felt like these guys are the real fucking deal. Yeah.
Another thing I love in this movie too, and I don't know how you feel about this, because I'll be honest with you, my favorite episode of Alpha Romero was the one where you talked about relationships in Romero cinema, and I was like, man, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm comfortable with you, my friend. I was like, geez, he's stretching a bit with this one. I don't think this will. And I watch it, and I'm fucking at the end. I'm like, I want it to end. It's be 3 hours. I want him to keep going, go to the next movie, And like the particular thing with this movie is obviously Dante and Lisa Spoonhour, right? Who may she rest in peace. She died fairly young. I think 40 something. She passed.
Yeah.
So it's really sad. But she actually, crazy enough, she would marry Jeff Anderson in real life. Yep. I think he proposed on the set of this movie. Some crazy story like that. Obviously, she's the girl that he is head over heels for. She's the girl that, like, is his dream, but she's very much like, oh, if I have the time for you type, right? Like he's crazy about her. She's kind of like neutral about him. Whereas obviously, Veronica, her character is great. She brings him lasagna. She comes to his job, checks in on him. Like, she's head over heels, and he's kind of neutral towards her. I always love that in this movie. I know it's not something that people talk about very much, but like that to me is very organic and real. Like I've been fucking there. I've been totally in his shoes there, and it sucks. It really not as bad as his situation, right? Of one ending up in a catatonic state by the end of it, and the other one telling you go fuck yourself. But what is your thought on that aspect of this movie? Because I really like that stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean that was definitely one of the things because I was like I said I was a teenager when I first saw Clerks. I think I was a freshman in high school when I first saw it because I remember showing it to my girlfriend at the time, and my girlfriend at the time was kind of that girl like my first love. You know, we were first serious quote unquote relationship, and after we'd broken up, like years had gone by, and it really mirrored a lot of that where it's like I really was into her, but she was kind of lukewarm to me. And then it was just like this weird triangle. But yeah, just little relationship stories like that. Yeah, I mean, it hit home. Like, on top of, being in your 20s and not knowing where your life is going and what steps you need to take next. It's also just about being in your 20s and dealing with the crazy bullshit that comes along anytime that young people are trying to relate to one another on a romantic level when you don't know who you are yet. They don't know who they are. You're still trying to figure out what's going on and trying to relate and make a relationship work at that age, even in your 20s, let alone when you're in high school as a freshman. It's it's tragic. I always love those types of stories and dynamics and because it's real. I mean, that's what it is. Very rarely does anybody like meet their, the love of their life in high school. I mean, how could you? I'm always very skeptical of people who are like, oh, we met in high school and we've been together ever since. I'm like, well, so you guys just never like grew or like, what is this? Like, it's really fucking weird. But it's usually those people that do that are the people that kind of peaked in high school anyway. So it's just like, all right, well, good luck to you guys.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, like I've been in those similar shoes as well, where again, crazy about a girl, and then like she's good back, but not a Veronica, right? Bringing you stuff and waiting on your hand. But it's like I think what you said, it shows a great deal of immaturity in the characters, and like perfectly honest, I'm still in my 20s, like I feel like I've been there too. I've done immature things too, where I'm like, man, I probably should have, I don't know if settle is the word, but I probably should have realized what a good thing I had with one thing before I let the other go away in chase of something that may have been unobtainable or may have not have had a long shelf life to it. So that's a big thing with this movie as well that I really kind of always related to and I really like. And I love that Randall, when they're talking, he and Lisa Spoonhour, he says something to him like, you break his heart again, I'll kill you. I love that. That's a true friend.
I have used that line on women in the past when
really?
to my friends and stuff. Yeah, it's like because you have friends that kind of deal with that same shit. I've used that line on a woman or two in my day. It's like, you break his heart again, I'll fucking kill you. And she's like, oh, that's so sweet. And he's like, wait, he was mine first. That kind of mentality.
It's a sign of a true friend. It really
just comes down to the great line from from Silent Bob at the end, where it's just like, there's a million fine looking women in the world, dude, but they don't all bring you lasagna at work. And that's true. That'll always be true. Like sometimes, there's you can chase after the ideal, whatever you think is the ideal girl or whatever, but sometimes the one you got is the only one that's gonna, it's one that's gonna be there when you need them. If you're sick or you're hungry, that it's always there to help, and sometimes you need to stop and appreciate that.
Of course. And I think another thing with this movie too is the last like 10 minutes or so, where I know I said before that last shot is probably my favorite thing in the movie, but the last 10 minutes are super important too, where the two of them are sitting and then, the worst part of all, I wasn't supposed to be here today. And Jeff Anderson, screw you, pal, screw you. Who closed the store to play hockey? Who's closed the store to go to the funeral? You want to blame somebody, blame yourself. Like that whole rant he goes on to tell him, like, you can point the fingers at me and I'm not perfect either. He says, I work at the video store badly and too, I might add. Like, I like that he doesn't crown himself as the saint. He fully acknowledges that he's shitty too. But he tells me, he's like, you want to blame somebody, you got to look in the mirror, buddy. Like, stop blaming everybody else for your shortcomings and talking about how you feel with this new girl as opposed to your actual current girlfriend, right? And I love how he just undresses them there. And the tension stops. Like it's he respects what he said, and then it's just they're cleaning up, and then the movie comes to a close as, I'll see you tomorrow, basically, which I love. We have to address the elephant in the room with this particular movie, though. The original ending, which obviously, again, has sort of a Romero tie, reminds me a lot of the original ending for Dawn of the Dead, where Ken Foray was going to, put a cap in his own head, and Galen Ross was going to have the helicopter take off her head at the end. And was it shot? Was it not? There's all those arguments, but this was shot. The ending of Clerks, the original ending, was shot where someone comes in with a gun, shoots Dante dead, runs out, and the movie was going to end. And that was supposed to be his big homage to Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee's movie, where, that movie's kind of funny throughout, and then, whoa, holy shit, it just ended very seriously. Would that have worked, in your opinion, or did they make the right call with what they did?
No, they made the right call. I mean, that you see that ending in the original cut of Clerks, which you can actually watch
right
on the Clerks X DVD, which is still one of my favorite box set collections ever. I mean, it's got a great documentary. Snowball Effect is on this too. I mean, it's one of my favorite.
That's a great fucking name for it.
Yeah. But no, it doesn't. It doesn't work, and maybe it's because I don't think it works because I was so used to the original version, the theatrical version that came out, and seeing Dante get shot just seems lazy. Like, I don't know how to end this movie. And, it's like, just fucking, all right, we'll kill him at the end. I don't know how to end this movie. We'll just shoot him and call it a day. But it just felt so out of place. And even when they were trying to shop the movie and show it, like, pretty much even the people that love the movie and really champion the movie really were all like, yeah, we could probably change that ending. Like, no, we don't want to see him die. Like, there's just certain movies or certain characters that you just don't want to leave the theater after laughing your ass off for the past 90 minutes depressed because the fucking, Dante gets, which I guess, spoiler alert, Kevin does end up eventually killing off fucking Dante.
Right.
By the end of Clerks 3. But no, I've never thought that ending worked. It's just weird to see. And I think, like I said, it's because I grew up with the original version, and then when I saw that version, I was like, huh, yeah, that doesn't work. I'm glad they changed that.
I couldn't imagine if I went to one of the original screenings where that was the ending, because I think it would take away from everything you just watched. Because in theory, you're walking out of that theater going, oh my God, that ending. Like, you're talking about, oh my God, they killed him at the end. Blah, blah, blah. Like, but to me, the meat and potatoes was everything that came before it. So I think it would have diminished your beginning, your middle, and most of your end, other than the last shot, if you had done that. So I'm with you completely. And the same thing with the Dawn of the Dead. I always think Dawn of the Dead, that's what separates it from something like Night. Like, Night ends very down, another one for the fire, right? And then Dawn, it's happy, energetic. And I know some people argue, oh, well, where are they going to go? They don't have gas. It's like, they got away. Like, for now, they got away. It's up to us, whatever the hell happens next. Like, it is what it is. But like, to me, it's a totally different ending and feeling walking out of that theater, as opposed to if they just taken themselves out. Like, I think it would diminish a lot of the stuff that came before it, respectively. So I'm glad that they changed it. I think the ending they went with is like one of my favorite endings ever. This is like one of those movies, man, where when it's closing, like that last film, I don't want it to end. Like, it's like, I actually wish it would go on. Like, I wish there was
it's a total hangout movie. You're just basically hanging out with these guys in a day. It's like a day in the life of two convenience store clerks, and you're just hanging out and just seeing, and you get to know them, and you just want to keep hanging out with them, which is why I was so excited. Because I mean, they popped up, throughout some of Kevin's other movies. They did the Clerks animated series, which, it's fine. Wasn't quite the same, but it was fine. They pop up in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. They have like I remember at one point on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, they shot like a short, like 5-minute short with Dante and Randall talking about flying cars.
I've seen that, yeah. And the funeral scene, they animated the funeral scene in this, and there's some cuts where you can watch that. They edit that in where they go into the funeral home.
Yeah. But it's one of those movies where you like the character so much you don't want to leave the convenience store. You want to come back the next day and see what happens tomorrow, type of thing. And that's the brilliance of it,
Yeah, and I guess that's why I like Clerks too. It felt like, obviously, it's a different location, different day in the lives of these people, much longer down the road, 11 years down the road, but I still think it really works as a sequel. But I don't know. I'm with you. The original Clerks, it is one of the best. Like, to me, coming of age movies, it's got to be in the top 5 or 6 ever, in my humble opinion. I love this movie. Clerks is great. But let's see what you guys have to say in the comments. The Shining miniseries was low budget, but I like it. Follows the book more. Interesting. I saw it once and I thought it was really, really bad. And but I was really young. Like, I'm talking single digits young that I saw it. And I just was like, I don't mind Steven Weber, but is he better than Jack Nicholson? I don't know.
No.
Hey, Savages, Zetro75 is in the house. Welcome, AJ Zetro. The 90s saw a lot of changes in technology, like the pager. This was a precursor to texting, birth of the internet. Yes, it was a big transitional period, right? It wasn't just the movie like this. It was a guy like Linklater, right? And Dazed and Confused. And, a movie we're going to talk about just in a little bit here, SLC Punk. Like, there were so many movies like this that were coming around the pike that were counterculture and coming of age at the same time. And that's kind of why I wanted to target a show on it, because I feel like this was such a unique time in film. Like, everybody felt like they were trying to have a voice in this decade where film itself, and horror film especially, were not drawing the way that they did in the 1980s and the 1970s. So that's why I think I've become very nostalgic for this era of film, is like the voice and what a lot of these movies had to say, more so even sometimes than the movies themselves. Like, the messages, I think, are so good.
Yeah, and it was a great decade for indie film too. Like, probably the best. I mean, it was definitely a better decade for indie film than the 80s.
Yeah.
Probably as good, if not better, than the 70s, I think, in a lot of ways. Maybe it may be up there with like the 60s, like the late 60s, early 70s for me, like that period where you had all this independence and, like, shoot it where you're at type of film. And
Guerrilla
yeah,
film.
yeah. And you had Clerks and Tarantino coming out, and Robert Rodriguez's stuff like Desperado and El Mariachi. And you just dropped a great review on one of my all-time faves, fucking Welcome to the Dollhouse, another great indie coming of age movie from this time period. Yeah, there was just and such a wide variety of types of films too. Like, you had stuff like Clerks, but you had stuff like Welcome to the Dollhouse. You had stuff like SLC Punk, which also had, really dark shit like Kids. I don't know if you've ever seen Kids from this time period.
Yes,
yeah.
Gummo.
Yeah, I mean,
you ever seen Gummo?
Gummo. Yeah, I mean, there was just it was a real experimental, risky, like, indie filmmakers taking risks because they had, it was just that decade. I'm fully with you. I missed that decade of
yeah, you don't, it's weird. It's like, you don't see that a lot anymore, but I don't even blame the filmmakers, because I don't think it's as easy to make a film now as it was then. And I don't even mean shade towards these 90s filmmakers, but I do, like, to me, like, you got to keep in mind, they were still shooting on film primarily. This is before the digital days. Like, SLC Punk was shot. I've heard Matthew Lillard tell the stories of the giant 35 millimeter reels. Like, it's just different, just completely different of how these movies were made. And I think that now it's like, I don't see much of a voice in movies like this now. Like, you don't really see movies like this now. It's like really a bygone era. And that's why I'm with you completely. And, like, look how many great filmmakers that are still working today, that have now transitioned from film to digital, and from low budget to big budget, like a Tarantino or a Robert Rodriguez, like you'd mentioned before. Like, and Linklater is another one. It's absolutely, he went from the slacker to all of a sudden he's making big Hollywood movies like School of Rock, and he recently made that Hitman movie, and tons of stuff. So I don't know. There's something about this era that I'm super nostalgic for, and Clerks is one of the first ones that comes to mind. I like it too. I give a shit about the Shining 1997 miniseries. Okay, apparently we've ruffled some feathers in the graveyard. Clerks feels like a documentary. Okay. Throw out the miniseries. All right. Love Jane John, Silent Bob Strike Back. I'm the master of the CLIT. Remember this fucking face. Whenever you see CLIT, you'll see this fucking face. We got Bonnie. Bonnie Bailey's in the house. Welcome, Bonnie.
What's up, Bonnie?
An Alpha Romero regular. Always good to have Bonnie. I know Bonnie tuned into, I think I did when I did the Twilight Zone top 10. I was so happy. I was like, yes. I was like, I sometimes steal some of your regulars. I love it. Feels good. I don't know why. I can't speak for other people of my generation, but I wasn't feeling Clerks at all awful, in my opinion. Really? Wow. That's interesting. I mean, maybe like if you look at the coming of age movies in the decade prior, right, like the John Hughes movies, this is certainly more raunchy with the dialogue, but to me it fits right in. It's a 90s version of a John Hughes movie. Like that's how I always kind of looked at a lot of Mallrats, especially as well. Like I
Oh
love
yeah.
Mallrats. But yeah, I don't know, maybe it's something to do with the tone or the crude humor. Like I could see somebody, it's funny, my uncle, this is his all-time favorite movie. Like he loves Clerks, and I'll never forget, he apparently took my dad to see it when it, somewhere around the time where it came out, and my dad hated it. He was like, "Oh, they should have called that movie Jerks." So that was his big line out of the movie theater. And then the two of them argued. He's like, "No, you don't understand." And my dad was like, "I
Well, it's like
understood."
it's like what Kevin Smith's mom said after she first saw it. Kevin showed it to his mom, and his mom looked at him and said, "You spent $27,000 on that piece of shit." And he was like, "Yeah, I guess I did."
Yeah, fast forward all these years later, I think he's doing all right. I think that was a
Yeah,
pretty good investment.
it worked
The
out.
original Gone in 60 Seconds is very much documentary-like, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay. Justin is in the house. Welcome, Justin. Justin actually joined me and Alpha on a roundtable in the past. I forget what number it was, but very good guy. Red State is actually a pretty vast movie. I'm there too. I really like Red State. I think that's his last good movie. Like I would go that far. I think that's the last one where I can watch and be like, okay, I'm with this. And after that, I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah, I'm
oh,
with you on
geez,
that.
he hit a brick wall. I was going to ask. That was one of my questions I forgot to ask. What do you think of Kevin Smith now? Like, is he washed? Is he a shell of his former self? Like what? Because I think he is. I really do. It's a shame. I hate to say it because I like the guy so much, but
You know
man.
what happened? He got Californiarized, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. He's he's too, and yeah, I get it. He loves his daughter, and his daughter she's whacked. Um,
Is she? I don't know much about his daughter other than she
she's
can't act. I know that about her.
yeah, she's pretty out there, but she's obviously a big influence on him, and I think I don't know. I'm not a fan of a lot of his movies here recently. I still love to hear the guy talk.
Same.
I could still listen to him talk for hours. He tells a hell of a story. But I do, and he's can tell he's like more and plus there was that whole like decade of where he was just constantly stoned all the time. Maybe that kind of fried him or something. I don't know, but I do miss sulky, fucking sarcastic, smartass Kevin
The
Smith. Like from
dry Kevin Smith in the
yeah,
evening with
like
Kevin Smith.
if you go back and watch like the very first evening with Kevin Smith,
Yes.
like I miss that Kevin Smith, the snarky fucking, like whatever, just I miss that Kevin Smith. But
Same here. I feel like that Kevin Smith would make fun of this Kevin Smith. That's like
yeah,
a big problem I have with the current Kevin. I'm like, man, the old you would just tear this new you down. I just don't. I don't know. It's
but
so.
I loved Smodcast. I listened to that religiously back in the day with him and Scott Mosier. Listening to that and listening to him talk. I mean, he's very inspirational. Directly, like if I were to say that the other filmmaker that is as inspirational to me as George A. Romero in terms of make me wanting to chase dreams and make movies and do what I want to do, it's Kevin Smith. Um, I can attribute. I finally, for years and years, talked about it, never did it, never did it, never did it, and finally sat down and wrote a full length screenplay, proper screenplay for the first time. And that was all due to Kevin Smith. Or not all due, but for the most part, like just listening to him talk, listening to his podcast, really digging in, just really inspired me. So if there's another filmmaker outside of George Romero, honestly, that I would say had the most effect on me in terms of going for what I want in life and really talking you up, it's Kevin Smith. I may not be the biggest fan of some of his latest films and whatnot, but at the same time, I can't deny how impactful his work and his words have been on my life. So yeah, I got to say that.
I think that was beautifully put. I would say I would second everything you said. I'm completely there too. Michelle says, "Boo! I just got called in for a CT. Gotta love that on-call life. If I don't make it back soon, I'll catch the replay. No worries, Michelle. Hope all's well. I was having trouble at the beginning. Restarted my Wi-Fi. Everything's worked fine since. I didn't have any issues on my end. It was so far with this show. I don't know. I hope everything's playing okay. Empire Records, Waiting, Coffee, and Cigarettes are ripoffs of Clerks.
There were a lot of those.
I've not seen any of those three movies. Or have you? Are you familiar with any of them?
Empire Records, yes. I actually like Empire Records quite a bit. It's not. It's like a Clerks ripoff mixed with High Fidelity. If you've ever seen High Fidelity, it takes place in a record shop. And
is
it's
it like
about
Liv Tyler? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen the poster a billion times. I've never seen the movie.
Yeah, it's basically Clerks in a record store. But I still kind of like it. Waiting, that I have never seen that one because it has fucking Ryan Reynolds in it, and I refuse to watch anything with Ryan Reynolds in it.
Really? I didn't know you were a Reynolds hater. That's interesting.
I can't stand that fucking guy's face.
I'm that way with Ben Affleck. So when Kevin Smith got a good performance out of him in Chasing Amy, I was like, my God, this guy can.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, Chasing Amy is my favorite Kevin Smith movie, even more so than Clerks.
Wow,
I think Chasing Amy is perfect. It's just funny. It hits every fucking emotional spot for me. But yeah, Coffee and Cigarettes I saw a long time ago. I don't remember much about it, honestly.
That'd be a fun show. Clerks knockoffs.
Clerks ripoffs, yeah.
Wish I still had the laser discs of Clerks. Dude, man, I've been lately seeing so many people post these laser discs on Instagram. It bothers me that I was not of that era. Like, I wish, because I would have a laser disc collection you wouldn't believe. But
I didn't grow up with laser disc either, really.
No, it was gone by the time, extinct next to. Men Alone 2, the KY connection, right? I love how Silent Bob says nothing throughout the whole movie, then usually spits knowledge when he does. Exactly. He says, like, the most important thing towards the end. And that was, like, sort of his gimmick for a lot of these movies. Poor people can no longer talk on our cell phone while driving. That was what they had as a car phone. Okay. Speaking of small budget, Evil Dead, Rocky, Blair Witch, Clerks, Mad Max, and The Living Dead. Best one for you guys, budget to final product. Wow, that's a loaded question. I would say Rocky from budget to final product, because you literally won Best Picture, and I think that's one of the most inspirational movies of all time. The score, it made Stallone's career. I mean, it made a mega franchise. He wrote it, the whole story. He wrote it like by hand in a notebook and insisted to play the role. I would say Rocky of those movies. Obviously, I think budget to profit would be Blair Witch. I don't think that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I might go with Blair Witch on that one just because it made so much. I mean, it was a phenomenon when that movie came out. Like, everybody was talking about it, and it was made for nothing. And it really is like I mentioned earlier, like lightning in a bottle. Like, Blair Witch, out of those listed there, out of all those, maybe the most lightning in a bottle movie ever made, because literally the guys that made Blair Witch went on to never really do much else. So they pretty much just nailed it once and just figured it out and made a shit ton of money. I don't know if they made a shit ton of money, but the studio made a shit ton of money with it. And they did it for nothing,
They said, isn't that the famous story where they sent them a fruit basket? They made $250 million, and they sent the actors a fucking fruit basket. If you want to know how slimy Hollywood is, you just got to hear a story like that, and it'll just
oh yeah.
Can't imagine the anger. But from what I understand, all three of them are doing well, and they still do conventions and stuff like that. So I always wanted to meet Josh Leonard for sure, and Mike Williams, and I know Heather goes by different names and things now and owns the marijuana company. So certainly some stories to be heard there. Speaking of Do the Right Thing, I read that the original ending of that movie was that Mookie and Sal would reconcile. Clueless is mentioned. Another 94 coming of age movie that analyzes the spirit of Gen X like Clerks is Reality Bites. Have you guys seen it? I have seen Reality Bites. That's a Ben Stiller joint. And it's funny enough, it's playing this weekend in the same theater I saw SLC Punk. And it's like 90s, I guess, coming of age month. And that one's playing this weekend. So I'm a big, I think Winona Ryder is one of those beautiful women ever. I love the scene, the My Sharona, where they're in the store, like Steve Zahn.
Is she still your heart, Grande?
Oh, Winona Ryder can have more than my heart. At least the young Winona. But I want the shoplifting Winona Ryder.
The wild, fun Winona.
I want to go to Walmart with 2001 Winona Ryder. I want to have a good ass time. Do you like Reality Bites though?
It's been a long time since I've seen that. I remember watching it when it used to come on Cinemax back in the day. So I used to I don't really have too many memories about it, so it didn't really trip my trigger, I guess. But I remember watching it at one point. But
Yeah, I know. Like I actually really like Ben Stiller's movies for some reason. Like that and Cable Guy was soon after, and I love that movie too. So I don't know.
yeah,
I'm just sort of a
Cable Guy's
sucker.
great. I don't
Cable,
care what anybody says. Cable Guy's great.
I could be your best friend or your worst enemy, Steven. Oh man, that's a fun movie. Forever Angry, we didn't get the Bad Moose horror movie in his Bad Canadian Horror trilogy. Mark, yeah, I'm fine with it personally. I know you're probably a big Tusk fan. Kevin Smith,
It would have been better than Yoga Hosers, that's for sure.
there are venereal diseases that are better than yoga hosers, though. Let's be honest. Kevin Smith actually also wrote comic books, did a pretty solid job. I know he did Masters of the Universe as well, which I never grew up on that. I never watched Masters of the Universe, so I never watched his version, but I heard it was the drizzling shits from what people have told me.
I don't know. I don't really care about any of that stuff. When he gets into comics and stuff, and crying over fucking comic book movies, that's when I'm just like, all right, you go do
Crying at the Last Jedi trailer. This is amazing. That's what I'm like, man, you gotta.
It's that weed, man. It's that weed.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know if the Wake and Bake is fucking with them. Empire's Rad has Guar in it. Waiting is fantastic. Waiting is funny as hell. Okay, so apparently we got some Clerks ripoffs that are getting love here. In the 90s, we had tech-savvy movies like Sneakers and Hackers, which is a perfect transition for our next movie of the evening here as we move on from Clerks to a movie that primarily, it's everywhere I looked, it says 1998. It really didn't have its theatrical run, and it was a limited run at that until 1999. But this is probably my favorite movie we're going to be talking about here tonight. From 1998, starring Matthew Lillard from Hackers. This is SLC Punk. Yes, SLC Punk. Brief plot synopsis. In the early 1980s, Steve-O and Heroin Bob are the only two dedicated punks in conservative Salt Lake City, Utah. I can't lie to you. I only saw this movie recently, maybe a year ago. And ever since I watched it, it is like undoubtedly one of my favorite movies from this era, and definitely my favorite movie in the career of Matthew Lillard, the lead actor. Do you remember your initial viewing and thoughts on this one?
I think I remember coming across it on IFC one night, right around when it first came out. And I remember seeing it and was fascinated by it because I was already into music. And when I saw this movie that had the guy from Scream in it with blue hair, and they're listening to punk and they're talking about punk, and I was like, what is this? And it's kind of it's kind of trippy here and there, and I didn't quite grasp, especially back then when we were younger, because a couple of years after SLC Punk came out, it became kind of like a religion to my friends and me, and just it was one of the more popular movies in school at the time. Everybody quoted it. Everybody talked about it. This was one of those DVDs that everybody just kind of traded back and forth all the time. Like this DVD right here,
That's
you would
awesome.
see it just passed around in school, be in just random, be in your backpack randomly. You never knew when you're going to your buddy's house. You could pop in SLC Punk. Like it was just for the first time, like you really saw a movie that had characters that were talking about punk music and the punk lifestyle and stuff. And so everybody, and I'll admit, I took various fashion cues from SLC Punk back in high school, like the plaid pants and the boots and the, all the accessories, the chains and the shit, had blue hair at one point, to be honest with you.
Wow, really? I got to see a picture of that, man.
I don't know if pictures existed. This was back when people saw in black and white, so I don't know if
the little like Polaroid. No, not the Polaroid, like the wind up cameras. I remember my mom used to get those developed when I was like a baby, and she was like, "I got digital now."
Really blown out. Yeah, it's just.
Were you one of those kids? Like, I'll be honest with you, the kids around here, at least fucking lonely Long Island, they listen to shit called pop punk, which is fucking horrible in my opinion. Yeah. But I won't lie to you. I went to some of the shows. I've been to raves and shit like that. And it's like, it's fun. I don't mind the environment of it, but it's not anything close to what this was. It's not hardcore. It's pop punk. I would say it's like privilege punk. It's like people, like their parents are all rich and they just come to these shows and pretend that they're fucking, whatever. But that was what I grew up around. Were you a punk kid? I know you said fashionably, but were you into that scene?
Oh yeah. Even here in small Hopkinsville, Kentucky, down in Western Kentucky. Um, they used to have local shows like you see in the movie, where Extreme Corporal Punishment is playing. They're touring from the UK. We would have bands that would tour. At one point, you're aware of the band My Chemical Romance, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
But before they hit it big, they tried to play in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, because we had kind of a pretty happening scene for a small town, for a punk bands.
Hopkinsville was hopping.
It was, man. It was called Hoptown. It was the Hoptown scene. So
Hoptown.
we had bands coming through all the time from all over the country, sometimes all over the world. Punk bands, metal bands, but mostly the punk band. We had our local punk bands. I was in a punk band at one point called the Suicides. And we had those local shows kind of like that. And the first one I remember going to when I was in middle school, there's some punk rock going on downstairs right now. But I remember going to my first one in middle school. There was a band playing called the Kelvins. And all of a sudden I see a trash can flying across the floor, hitting somebody in the head, and then them getting up and just continuing, and just the mosh pits and all this that was going on. I was just like, what is this? What is going on? Speaking of punk, here's a little punk. What do you want?
Hi.
Come on, Everly. I wanna have a phone, Dad.
Okay, go get your phone. Go. Okay. Jesus Christ. Sorry, guys. But no, like it's well, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, the local punk scene. So yeah, I used to go to
get in the head with a trash can.
Yeah, I mean, we used to have the mosh pits and stuff. We had our local scene. We had bands come through like Theory X and Saltwater Vampires. I remember was a big band at the time. So I mean, yeah, it was and like I said, it was like late or early 2000s, 2001, 2002. It was just a different thing. So I identified with the movie so much. It was just like, and and when you get into the whole like the theories, the anarchy and the different cliques that you would have, you had the punks and the metalheads and the skinheads and this and that, the rednecks. Like those were always our sworn enemies. Being in Kentucky was like the fucking rednecks. Like don't get away from those. The preps.
So in this, it's the Nazis, but in your real life in Hopkinsville,
it was the rednecks. It was the fucking rednecks. The rednecks and the preps. Like if you saw a kid roll up in fucking khaki pants and a sweater vest, looking like the goddamn, the Mean Street Posse or something,
The Mean Street Posse. Oh shit!
You're like, oh, fuck those guys. Those are our sworn enemies. The metalheads were cool, but yeah, I mean, it was just so. And that's the thing about this movie, is that the director came from this lifestyle. Like he knew, like he had experience in in the punk scene and the punk lifestyle. So everything he was saying was pretty spot on, pretty true to life.
It's extremely accurate. Like that's the big thing that really makes me gravitate towards the movie, and also my fandom for Matthew Lillard. Like I'm with you. I think he's one of the best things in Scream. Probably my favorite Wes Craven story of all time was on Scream, where they shot the ending, and Wes was like, "Wait a minute, what's Matthew Lillard's reason for doing all this?" And Williamson was like, "I didn't write that in the script. It's not, the main thing is that Skeet Ulrich had this motive, and this is why." And he was like, "Wait a minute, but we got to make him meaningful here." And they throw that shot in where once Skeet gives the whole speech of your slut mother was fucking my father. They show Matthew Lillard, and he's shot. He doesn't even know. And that to me is like one of the best Wes Craven calls of all time, and what proved that he was such a genius was you instantly made him more interesting without having to have him say a word at all. Just he had a reason. You did it for fun. That's what I always thought was so good about the Skeet, and Matthew Lillard characters in that movie, is that Matthew Lillard was doing it for peer pressure and did it for fun. And, I'd seen him in so many other movies too. Like, even going back to, I know you love this one as much as I do, Serial Mom. Was his debut film, and Ghoulies 3 Go to College, not as good a movie as the ones we're talking about, but it always felt like he was secondary. It always felt like he was, and he really did go on to be typecasted as the buddy, right? Like how many Freddie Prinze Jr. movies is he the buddy, right? The Scooby-Doo and the Summer Catch, and the one where they're fucking in space. I forget the name of that movie, but it always seemed like he played second fiddle, whereas this we get Matthew the entire movie. He's the whole fucking show here, and he delivers. And he really, it was nice to see him not have to make a lot out of 5 minutes. Instead, he got to kind of carry a film, and he tells you his story, right? And where did Punk originate? Doesn't fucking matter. And he goes on that whole rant in the mall, and he's talking about all this stuff, and like, it is very sporadically told. It's very I could see you getting lost easily because it's so quick. It's really not a movie you could just kind of put on in the background. You got to be watching it. But man, I just love this character of Steve-O and his good buddy Heroin Bob, which is the whole irony of he doesn't do any drugs. He's afraid of needles and all this stuff. And I don't know, it's funny, but at the same time, I felt a lot of organicness between those two and their friendship and that relationship in the movie. What did you think of some of the characters in this? Because you see a lot of good Jason Segel's in there. James
Great
Duvall,
cast.
amazing cast. What do you
Devon
think?
Sawa, just a great cast from the time. Yeah, I mean, all those it's funny. I knew all those characters, like the Mark character, the older guy from another country that's selling drugs. Like, we all kind of knew that guy that just had money for some reason and would always, would hang out with the younger kids. But we were cool because he was cool. He
had money.
He had money, and which that's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is when they're at his house and he's showing him all the stuff, and he's like, it's like the fucking scene from Spinal Tap. He's like, this waterbed, it has no waves. And he's
Why didn't you just buy a regular bed?
But this one has no waves.
And the shower, it has 7 settings, and
all of which I will show you now. He's showing the laser disc. He's just like, it looks like a silver record, but it's not a silver record. It's a laser disc. There's a movie on there. Like that guy,
Till Schweiger, I think is his name.
Is he okay? But yeah, I just love that scene, and then he kind of snaps. He thinks Bob stole his stash from him and stuff, and he snaps. It's a very intense scene. He's got the gun and shit. He's like, "Oh, give me a kiss. Let's go steal car, huh? Let's go steal car." It's just a great scene all the way. The performances, the dialogue, everything. Where he's telling the story about his his family dying in the plane crash and his mom's head flying at him. As they crash. Like, you could see, like, all right, this dude's fucked up, but yeah, I mean, every character in this movie is rich with, not just the look of them, because, I mean, you do a movie about punks, everybody's got their own looks. You got Eddie, right, the guy who loves girls. You got Devon Sawa's characters, like the crazy poser kid who fucking trips acid and loses his mind.
Yeah.
The female characters like Trish. Yeah, I mean, everybody in this movie is memorable and realistic. Even down to like fucking Chris McDonald as like the lawyer dad who's going through the midlife crisis, and everybody in it is likable and cool on some level. But probably my favorite character in the whole movie, you mentioned him, is Jason Segel as Mike. It's like this nerd guy, which everybody knew this kid in the scene too. The nerd guy who didn't dress like everybody else, but just kind of looked a little nerdy. But when it came down to it, he was the most hardcore motherfucker you knew.
Right.
Which I don't know if you've ever heard the theory. Did you ever watch How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if you've ever heard the theory that Marshall in How I Met Your Mother, which is played by Jason Segel, was actually a take on Mike from SLC Punk. Because if you think about it, Mike in SLC Punk goes away to college to save the rainforest, to fight for plants. He wants to study botany, and and if you watch How I Met Your Mother, which I used to be a huge fan, I used to watch that all the time. But if you watch How I Met Your Mother, Marshall is an environmental lawyer who's fighting for the rainforest, and they always mention like his his checkered past, and he has anger issues and stuff, and they would always cut back to flashback scenes of him and his brothers, and it's the murder train or whatever, and he's like always fighting and shit. There's always the theory that Marshall from How I Met Your Mother is actually Mike from SLC Punk, but that's just a weird, funny.
I love that. That's such a cool theory. I'm sure someone must have asked him about it. That's really cool.
But yeah, I love that character because he's so unassuming, and then all of a sudden Bob starts getting beat up on the stage, and he takes his hold these. I have to go do something real quick. And that's the first time we see that he's actually just the most badass guy that they know. Which you kind of have to be if you're going to be like that and hang out with those guys. It's like, okay, well, he's there for a reason. But yeah, I mean, just the interaction with the characters, the relationship, like you said, between Bob and Steve-O is so true to life. Because I mean, it's not, it's not all happy and rainbows, and they don't agree on everything all the time. And it's in the real coming of age aspect of SLC Punk, which really hits home now looking back on it. Because I watched this movie again the other night, like I told you, and the part that really gets me is when you start to lose that commonality with your friends, even your best friends, even your closest friends, the ones that you thought, all right, we're going to be together forever. We're on the same page. We think the same things. We feel the same things. And then eventually you just grow up. And there's that turning point, where Steve-O says, what happens? What do you do when your foundation crumbles? Like everybody's leaving, everybody's moving on, getting jobs, going to college. Bob's in love now, and he seems to be preoccupied with Trish, and now he feels all alone. Like I've been that guy before, where, your closest friend in the world, you do everything together. You're together every day. You share the same thoughts and feelings and outlook on life. And then one day you just kind of slowly drift apart, and for one reason or another. And then all of a sudden you realize, like, oh, we don't really have much in common at all anymore. That's the part that really like hits home to me now, looking back on it now as a 37-year-old man. 37.
I'm 37.
Looking back, and I'm just like, I've been there. And that's something I really didn't feel when I was younger watching this movie. Because when I was younger watching this movie, it was all about the music and the characters and the punk rock lifestyle and the attitude and all that. Now looking back on it, it's the whole, like, I feel like Steve-O at the end of that movie. I was like, looking back, I was like, yeah, back in those days, I was just a big fat fucking poser. Like that's all I was. Like that's who we all were.
I completely agree with everything you're saying with how sometimes friends kind of fade. And there's the great line where he says, only fucking posers fall in love. But it wasn't, just a few weeks prior where he's head over heels for this one girl that he's having sex with throughout the movie. They even have sex live at a show. And there's that scene where he walks in on her with another guy and he beats the hell out of the other guy. And she's like, we agreed that we're not exclusive to one another, that we could fuck whoever we want. Like, why would you freak out? And I think that is a big scene where he's coming in contact with, the grown-up version of who he's going to become and the kid, right? The kid doesn't want the facade to end, right? But the grown-up in him had feelings for this girl. And there's that whole kind of dynamic there as well. And I'm gutted for him when he's, beating that guy up. And the girl, she goes, what did I do? What's wrong? Like, she doesn't even know why he's upset. And yet he's like beat red and angry and sad about it. And like, I think another thing too is how a lot of these people are judged, right? I mean, there's the scene where they go from Salt Lake City where they're looked at as these terrible, delinquents, despite the fact that they're not saints, they're not delinquents either. They have to go to Wyoming to buy beer. And there's the great scene where they go out to Wyoming to buy the beer. And like that whole scene is great. But like, it also, that's how society looked at people like that. And that's a forever thing. That's in the 90s, I'm sure, looked at them that way. When I was a teenager, they looked at them that way, and I'm sure they're looked at that way now. It doesn't ever really change. They're kind of always going to be judged and kind of diminished by a larger society that, it's easy to say, fuck society. That's a big thing with this movie and the movement. But what I think is so good about it, what I think is so, great is the story they're telling of he feels that society's told him to go fuck himself. And that's why he kind of rebels or becomes this punk against society. He doesn't want any part of it, right? He doesn't want to move on. He doesn't want to grow up. He doesn't want to be the successful Harvard lawyer that his dad is, even though he's his dad's son, right? I mean, there's a lot of that in there too. And I don't know, Lillard in this is great. Like, I think that the movie around him is tremendous too, but I think he's tremendous, especially in this. Like, I think this is an all-time performance for me. And like a couple scenes that I would look at with that is the great scene with Summer Phoenix, sister to River and Joaquin, where he sits down on the couch and he's one smile is all it took, and I fell in love with her. I love that.
Yeah,
and
that scene's so important too to what you're saying. It's like when she calls him out for, why are you dressing like that?
Right.
And he's just like, what do you mean you don't like the way I dress? And he's just like, well, I don't care how you dress, but I just think you're all about rebellion and shit, right? And going against the man or whatnot. But you're wearing a uniform. You're trying to look like a certain thing to fit into a certain category. Like, rebellion's in the mind. It has nothing to do with what you wear or what you listen to. Yeah, exactly. And it's like part of me, part of me is like, I feel like Steve-O probably would have kind of thought of that at some point because he's an intelligent kid. He's not just some crazy fucking punk. Like, he's smart. He did good in school. He could be a good lawyer. He got accepted to Harvard. Like, he's a smart kid. But I feel like at some point he probably knew this already, but having somebody call him out on his bullshit is kind of, he needed that. I think that was the thing. It wasn't like a shock to him to hear that. He knew. Like, I felt like he kind of knew, like, yeah, this is kind of a uniform to show people where I stand in the pecking order of things.
Right. Yeah. And it's a whole, I think that entire night is the culmination. And it's the sad part about it is that's really the night where he goes from young punk rocker to young adult man. And he listens to Summer Phoenix and her critiques. And I think he respects what she has to say to him, that she's not afraid to let him know these things. And he's also quite attracted to her. And can I call you tomorrow, as he's taking Heroin Bob back to their, I guess, little place where they live. And the following scene to me is the best thing in this entire movie, and a reason to watch it, even if you're not into anything else that we've talked about so far, is that scene at the end where Heroin Bob, spoiler alert, overdoses. He's given these pills at a party as a headache. Somebody tells him they're vitamins. He takes them and he ends up overdosing. And he's like, "Come on, wake up! It's 3:00." And Matthew Lillard's performance as he breaks down, I'll admit it, in the theater, I cried like a fucking, I'm softer than baby shit, man. I cried my eyes out.
I've seen this movie 100 times. I watched it again the other night and I still shed tears during that scene just because he's so it's so good. It's so well done. Like, to me, it's Matthew Lillard's crowning moment of his career. Like,
It is.
I think just in terms of like, that's how. So if I could just tell a personal story here, I won't go into too much detail, but a friend of mine died. It's probably 10, 11, 12 years ago now. Oh, gosh, yeah, it's probably been over 10 years now. A friend of mine died in almost exactly the same situation. Luckily, I wasn't there, but a friend of mine drank too much, probably took a little more than he should have. Went to bed. It was him and our mutual buddy. He was staying the night at his house, and dude went to bed. Next morning, my buddy went in there to wake him up and found him choked to death on his own vomit.
Wow.
And when I think of that this scene is exactly what comes into my mind. Like, that's, to me, like, that's kind of how it played out in my mind. It was this scene in this movie, the way that Lillard. Because at first you can just see the mix of emotions. He doesn't want to believe it, but he tries to just man up and just suck it up. But it overcomes him. It pours out of him. Where he tries to just to accept it for what it is. But
the first thing he says is the punk rocker. He says, "Only fucking posers die, you fucking idiot." And like that's the punk in him saying that. And then it's the next few lines of, "What am I going to do for friends?" as he's crying. And he says that the line that gets me the most is he says, I wasn't ready for this, as he's bawling, crying. And I don't know, like, every time I've seen it, I've only seen the movie 2 or 3 times, but my God, it
and
really,
the way he cries, just that pathetic little whimper where he's, that, and the spit coming out, like, it's so real. Like, it's so, like, he was in that moment for that scene, and it's one of the most powerful scenes I've ever seen in any movie in my life. Still to this day.
It is. So. And I've heard him tell the story, actually, of how he had to kind of psych him up to do that scene. The story goes is that they filmed it and he didn't like his take and they broke for lunch and he was like, he sat by himself, and he said that he conjured up memories of his father who had passed away. And then he kind of tried to get in that mindset of thinking about him. And then when they rolled from the first take from lunch, that was the take they took. Like, he said that, there was no stopping him after he got in that mindset, and that mood. And it's raw. It's genuine emotion. And like, to me, for an actor like Matthew, who, we talked about before in all the other movies that we like him in, he was somebody that, again, had to make the most out of a little. He was given 4 minutes of screen time, maybe 6, maybe 10. You know, here he's given 90 plus, and it really all kind of builds up a crescendos to that point, and him breaking down over the death of Bob, and then the next scene you see is the blue hair's gone. He's almost a skinhead now, and I was nothing but a fake ass trendy poser. You know, like he kind of begrudgingly accepts that you have to grow up. This is not a life that's going to be sustainable, you know, and you have to grow up and you have to become an adult, whether you like it or not. And to me, that's the best thing about SLC Punk. It's has so much to say about coming of age, and it's almost, in a way, I know a lot of people will say, oh, you know, you got to grow up to be this person, or you got to try to aspire to be that person. I don't even think that's it with this. To me, it's about growing up to be himself. Like that, it's all in him the whole way, and you see glimpses of it, but it's at the end where he fully embraces, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to be. And like that to me it's really rare in the coming of age field. Usually it's this big arc. I don't see it as an arc. I think it was all within him, and he kind of comes in that moment of saying, hey,
yeah, it's all about the internal struggle where he's trying to stay true to this set of ideals and this, you know, the way that he's decided, you know, oh, I believe in anarchy, but you know, it seems like anytime he tried to defend that, he would always come up short. Like when he's at the party and he's talking to the girl's brother, I can't remember her name, but and they're down there having the debate about, you know, life is about, you know, you're born and then you die, which is chaos. But when you die, you become, the atoms become something else, and that's rebirth. So it's creation again. So you know, everything comes back to creation, and you can see like he's starting to either realize this or he already kind of knows it, but it just takes, like you said, it just takes getting older. It takes life experience to realize that. Trust me, I was that rebellious. Like I'm still like that, where I'm just like, fuck all this. But
what makes me sad, but at the same time appreciative as this film goes, is the Devon Sawa character. To me, that's the complete inverse of him, right? One has the blue hair, one has the green hair, one ends up being a Harvard lawyer, the other one ends up homeless. And I like that they don't shy away from that. It's basically telling you that if you're in the scene, it doesn't mean that you're going to end up like Steve-O, the successful lawyer like your daddy, you know, driving Volkswagens and things like that. No, you're also very liable to ending up with nothing, begging for change on the street. There's that scene where he sees him and he can't even look him. He goes, it made me sick to turn my back to him, but I couldn't look at him anymore. And I think in a lot of ways is because he doesn't want to become that same kid. He doesn't want that for himself, but it is a possibility. And I like that this film doesn't shy away from that. Like that is a reality, sadly, for a lot of these people, right? Here's a kid was running from the cops, had the acid dissolve into his leg and made him super high. And then, you know, mom called the cops on him and all these things like that. Like, I think it was just circumstantial, but he refused to grow up and he refused to become an adult, and look where he ended up. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Have you ever seen, do you ever see the sequel?
Man, I never have, because I'm sorry if my reaction to me, you can't make a sequel this without Matthew.
No, you can't.
You just can't. It's not possible. It's like, to me, I feel the way about Friday, right? Like they made the sequels without Chris Tucker. You can't make a sequel to Friday without Chris Tucker, to me. Like there's certain movies where people are so good and synonymous with the movie that you can't do a sequel without them. And that, to me, SLC Punk is Dead, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I mean, I think from what I understand, Heroin Bob comes back, I guess, as a ghost, because I don't know how he would come back otherwise.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it one time when it came out, because I was just curious, because they brought back some of the original cast. I think Devon Sawa was in it. Annabeth Gish, I think, was in it. It had Machine Gun Kelly, I guess, is like the lead punk or whatever. Or no, it may have been.
They recast Matthew Lillard with MGK. That's pretty funny.
I don't remember much about it. I just remember thinking it was really, really not good, and it sucked because it was the same director. You know, it was the same guy that made the original that made this one, but it just just didn't work. And I often forget that they even made a sequel to SLC Punk, but I'm not bothered by it. I'm just like, it's out of mind, out of sight type of thing.
It is, and it's also like, what's sad is this director, I'm not familiar with a lot of his other work. I looked into it, and
Not
None of these
either.
movies I know of, and none of them I've ever really heard good things about. So maybe this was a situation of, hey, it's been almost 20 years. Let me recapture the lightning in a bottle that I did with SLC Punk, make a sequel. But it's just, it's something you fall into again. Like we were discussing all these guys in the 90s. And I think this is a movie that only could be made by a kid, for lack of a better term, at that time that was in this scene. And that's what he was. So by the time you fast forward 20 years, things change. The world
Yeah.
changes, society changes, and you're not that young kid anymore growing up in it. Now you're a fucking trendy ass, fake ass adult poser. That's basically what you become. It's I think it can only be made from somebody of the youth and that lived that movement, to me.
Yeah.
But I don't
agree.
know.
One the
I never
same.
had a desire personally.
You're not missing anything. I wouldn't even. I mean, I think it's available for free on YouTube right now.
It
But I
is.
wouldn't even.
As is the first
You're
one.
not-
And it's funny, you can
Yeah.
watch it in 4K, the original SLC Punk in 4K on it looks insane. I know there is a physical 4K edition, but it goes for like hundreds because it's out of print.
Oh, really? I didn't even
I've
know that.
always wanted to get it, but I can't bring myself. I'm like, dude, no, I can't. But like the transfer looked insane. I was like, wow, this is absolutely amazing. So I don't know. And it was cool to see it on the big screen. That's a movie I never thought I would see in the theater, but it was cool to see. I remember SLC Punk's Pipe Bomb. Shout out to CM Punk. In the 1990s, we had many movies that had tried to do their own versions of Die Hard, failed miserably. Grande, you better not let Mernsey hear you talk shit about Pop Punk sucks, buddy. Come on. You know, you were telling stories about seeing people get hit with trash cans and things. I have a funny story. It was like an underground or like a basement of a church. It was a big pop punk thing. And I remember, there was all the mosh pits and things like that. And I was having a good time. All of a sudden, out of my peripheral vision, there was this skinny Jesus-looking dude, right? Like the Jesus beard. Like he looked like Jesus.
You were at church, so
I was at church with Jesus in the basement, right? I didn't see Satan though. He jumped off the stage. I don't know why, because there was nobody there to catch him. He kneed me right in the side of the face. Like I literally was like this, and then boom, like I never saw him fully until I remember people pulling me up, and he was like, "I'm so sorry." And I remember my first question, I was like, "Where the fuck were you going?" I just said something like, where was your landing spot? He was like, "I don't know." Dude,
You gotta
fully Seth Rollins need me in the fucking temple, dude. It was brutal.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. I remember one time, so we used to have shows. We had two venues in Hopkinsville back in the day. We had the Bear Trap, which was an old barn out in the middle of the country that a local band at the time, Charade, had turned into like a music venue where bands would come and play, and it was pretty cool. Then there was also the JC's building, which was like this little building behind the fairgrounds that anybody could rent for, weddings or whatever. But we'd rent it out for punk shows. And there was this band called Sock Puppet Mafia. They were like a ska punk band. So they had like trumpets and a horn section and all this other shit. And they were hugely popular locally at the time. And they did a cover of Britney Spears' "Hit Me Baby One More Time."
What?
But did it punk, did a punk version of it. And
Hey, baby, one more time.
yeah, basically it was just like, "Hit me, baby, one more time." And it was just like,
That's fucking awesome.
yeah, it starts slow and then it builds, which kind of plays into the story. It starts slow, it builds, and then it pauses, and then it's just like, "Hit me, baby, one more time." And it gets real fast and crazy. And so what they had everybody in the crowd do was they did like a Braveheart is what they called it. We're going to do the Braveheart mosh. We're like, what is that? All right, everybody on this side of the room, everybody over here, everybody on this side of the room, over here. So everybody in the building was on two different sides. And as soon as they hit me, baby, one more time, and it got fast, everybody ran and just collided into one another into just this one big ass mosh pit.
Holy shit.
A friend of mine at the time, this girl named Tiffany, after the mosh pit, after that fucking Braveheart scene went down, I saw her in the crowd and she was just busted open. She was bleeding like Eddie Guerrero.
I got you, don the crimson mask.
She was busted open. I was like, "Oh my God, Tiffany! Oh my God, are you okay?" Like I was so concerned. I thought we're gonna have to take her to the hospital. she was as happy as could be. She was just like, "Oh my god, this is fucking awesome!" And I'm just like, "Oh my god!" Like, yeah, people, you got to be fucking careful, man.
There's one thing I know: Tiffany is not a fake ass trendy poser. She's the real
No,
deal.
no. So I think she went into the military after school, actually. So yeah, she was.
Sounds
pretty fucking
fitting.
serious.
It sounds like she's a tough gal. Jeff Down is up. What's up, fellas? What's up, Jeff?
Jeff.
Hope all is well with you, man. Saw this a long time ago. I just remember it was very similar to Sid and Nancy. I could be wrong. I mean, I never got that vibe. Did you?
No, I mean, I get it. I mean, pretty much the whole punk culture was based off of the fashion of the Sex Pistols and probably most importantly Sid Vicious. So I could see it aesthetically maybe, but yeah, and just tonally and stuff, I don't see that.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know. Maybe I have to rewatch Sid and Nancy though, because I love.
Yeah, it's
SLC
been a while
Punk.
since I've seen Sid and Nancy. Actually,
Same. I
so.
saw it younger too. Okay, so Alpha, you're a youngster, absolutely, and Jeff is a fellow New Yorker, and he's met everyone on the face of the earth. So we love.
Yeah.
Grande, Nixon Trone is in the house. Love you, brother. Love you too, man. Just popping in. We'll catch the rewatch tomorrow. Always love the Graveyard Romero mashup. Happy Friday Eve, everyone. Yeah, he is. Nixon Trone is. I don't know if I've ever told you about him. I think I have, maybe. He's one of my favorite people in the world. He is a heart surgeon, and he's like one of your big. He's like the best Grande's Graveyards is when you have Alpha Romero. He's like, I love you too. He's like, your chemistry is the best.
I'm big with the medical community. What can I say?
He told me a story when we had Mernsey on. He said, "Man, I got home. It was like 3 a.m, and I was eating in my kitchen. And he's like, I'm watching this episode of you and Mernsey. And he says, I'm laughing like a psychopath in my kitchen at 3 a.m, and you and Mernsey talk about movies." And I was like, like Nixon Trone is a good guy. I would love to have him on here. I got to have him on here one of these days. But yeah, no, he's a big fan. He's like, anytime you have Alpha on, you send me that link immediately. Like, don't even think twice. So thank you, Nick, and I hope all is well, man. Joe Mama's in the house. Yo, Joe Mama.
Joe Mama.
We got Susan Chaos in the house. Hello, Graveyard Army. Susie was rocking her Grande's Graveyard shirt earlier on Instagram. Thank you so much for the
all right
promotion. Braveheart Mosh, aka the Wall of Death. Yes, hit me, baby, one more time. Britney Spears.
Yeah, I've heard it called that too.
I'm glad I'm able to watch the amazing live tonight. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Now, before we get into our last movie, I have an admission right here, Mr. Lancaster, Mr. Alpha Romero. I have to take a pee like a racehorse. I've drank like 2 waters, and I've got to go to the bathroom. So I would like you to take this time to promote whatever's coming up on your channel, if you'd like. If that's okay with you. I can't hold it in anymore, and I really don't want to wait. So please tell us what's coming on your channel, and then maybe any Living Dead weekend things that you got planned for us. But I'll remove myself. I'll come right back.
All right, go take a piss. I'll take over. What's up, everybody? Here on Alpha's Graveyard tonight, we kicked Grande's ass to the curb. I'm taking over. What's everybody in the chat? Yeah, at Alpha Romero 88. Check it out. Like I said, tomorrow night I'll be on the Revival House. Go check out those guys. Really cool channel, really cool guys at Revival House. Be doing if you guys are into horror mags, we go back and we review page by page. We dissect old editions of Rue Morgue magazine. Really in-depth fucking shows. So we're doing that tomorrow night inside Rue Morgue. Check that out over there at Revival House. And Saturday night, like I said, I'll be doing a Document of the Dead fan commentary. I'll have Eric Walter will be joining me. He's a documentary filmmaker. Made a documentary some years back called the My Amityville Horror about the the Amityville house or whatnot. Let's see, what else do I got fucking coming up? Let's see, the following weekend I'm doing a zombie Dawn of the Dead fan commentary. This is all leading up to Living Dead weekend. So I'll be doing the Argento cut of Dawn of the Dead zombie fan commentary next weekend. The following weekend I'll have a Romero fan roundtable show where we just anybody and everybody's invited to come on and talk whatever you guys want to talk about. And then the weekend before Living Dead weekend, June the 7th, I believe, a Sunday night, I will have Larry Lawrence DeVincent, who does all the tours at Living Dead weekend of the mall tours. I'll have Larry on, and we'll be doing a simulcast, what we call a PMS, a premium multi-stream with the Dead Pit guys from Dead Pit Radio, Uncle Bill and Creepy Kentuckian. So that'll be June the 7th, Sunday night. So there you go. All right, now I've bored everybody out of the room. Grande's back, the star of the show, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's Alpha's graveyard. I heard you took over. It's like the NWO. We're taking
That's right.
over. All of a sudden, Dead Bitch shows up and spray.
Look at the adjective. Play. I ain't here to play.
No, it's funny. I heard the tail end of what you were saying about Larry. Larry's one of the nicest guys and easily one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever met. And then it was so cool to finally meet Wes and Aaron, the Dead Pit guys, this past October. That was so cool to finally meet them. Like, I've been listening to them for years. And in fact, you were there when I said to Uncle Bill, I've been listening to you since I'm in middle school. And he went, gee, way to make me feel like a fucking old man. I felt so bad, but what a great first impression. Uncle Bill still watches occasionally, so we love Uncle Bill.
Yeah, I saw him pop in here a couple weeks ago. I think when you were doing the overrated underrated show.
Right, yeah.
Those are always fun shows.
That's my favorite show. Like Solo, that's the best. I think that's like my Super Bowl. I think those are just good. Like people love those shows, and they thankfully do pretty good with the views and stuff like that. People making fun of me for taking a piss. I rarely do this on a show. Grande,
I know. I was gonna say, damn. You usually like on fire, going.
I've been drinking to be honest with you, I woke up today and my throat closed. I was like, oh no. I was like, this is terrible. I've been just pounding fluid all day. So I guess it finally caught up to me. I'm almost 30. LOL. I didn't know the graveyard took potty breaks. Yeah, well, hey, thankfully I have a professional here and I was able to tag out. So, it happens. But let's get into the final movie, a movie I didn't really promote coming into this show because I told Michael here, I said, hey, man, you could pick the third movie, whatever you want it to be. And he was like, okay, let me think on that. So a few days go by and I sent him the thumbnail of American Movie because I know you love that movie too. And I was like, I just need to fill it with something that you would actually be holding and proud of. And you were like, okay, how about Boyhood? And I went, whoa. I was like, Boyhood. This man wants to see me spontaneously combust on live stream here. But
well, I know you've mentioned in the past how much you love Boyhood. So I was like, I'll do it for you, Grande. I'll talk about it.
See, this is what friends are for. See, friendship is a very important thing. But we'll get into a friendly debate. I'm not planning on any rants or anything like that. My throat is not 100% to be screaming and cutting promos. But we'll make it as entertaining as humanly possible because the last movie of the evening from 2014, I'm talking about Boyhood. Yes, Boyhood. Brief plot synopsis. The briefest of plot synopsis is really the life of Mason from early childhood to his arrival at college. That's the entire plot synopsis on IMDb. That's kind of a shitty plot synopsis.
That's basically what it is. I mean,
it is basically what it is. Yeah, it's rather brief. I guess emphasis on the brief part. But all right, a friendly debate here coming out. Tell me why, because I know I've screamed about this movie on the show a few times. Why is this one of your, I don't know if it is one of your favorite coming of age movies, but why do you enjoy this movie so much?
All right. So I remember the first time that I watched him. It's Richard Linklater, Slacker, Dazed and Confused. One of the, when it comes to coming of age movies, like when you use the term coming of age, I think of Richard Linklater. I think he kind of knocks out of the park with those type of movies. And when I saw Boyhood, when I first heard about it, the idea of filming a movie over the span of 12 years with the same boy growing up, like for one, it's just out of curiosity. I was like, well, I'll check this out. Like, it's an interesting concept. I wonder how they pulled this off. And it's got Ethan Hawke, Patricia Arquette, which Patricia Arquette won. I think she won the Academy Award that year for her performance in this movie.
She did.
Nightmare on Elm Street. There you go. We'll bring it back to horror.
Kissing Kate Barlow and Holes.
But I remember watching this movie and I watched it again for the first time in a while last night. And I've always had a soft spot for this movie. And watching it again last night, it's hard to really put into words why this movie works so well for me. I think it's just because it literally covers the life of this kid through all of these ups and downs and traumatic experiences and his mom going through drunk husband and after drunk husband and the relationship that he has with his dad, the dad that that's kind of like, I mean, it's a coming of age movie for everybody in this movie. Like his dad ends up growing up and maturing and becoming a responsible adult, and his mom is trying to finish school, and and this kid's having to deal with all the decisions that his parents made, even the biggest decision that they made of getting a divorce in the first place, and the difficulty that can put on a child. But it's also told in such a cinema verite style where it's, like I said, it's literally just shot over the span of 12 years from the time that they started it to the time that they finished it. And you see all the changes in the times and all the advancements in technology, and then the moments in time, like, the Harry Potter release when they actually go to the Harry Potter premiere. And, it's like these small moments from this boy's life as he's growing up and growing old, and you see his first love, you see his first heartbreak, you see it's just fascinating to me. I don't know how to explain it. Nothing happens in this fucking movie. Like I'll tell you right now, I'll agree, nothing happens in this movie. There's no, like, you're just literally just watching this kid's life over the years. Like, okay, then he grows up, and the next year he's this, and the next year he's that. But I'm just glued. Like, the movie's almost 3 hours long. I mean, it's a long fucking movie. And which really, in retrospect, is not that long of a movie when you're telling the story of a kid's life, a 12-year span in 3 hours. But it does such a good job of like moving from one thing to the next. Like, the alcoholic stepfather, like I grew up, I knew kids that were in that situation where the stepdad was, it wasn't your typical like poor alcoholic living in a trailer, beating the kids and all this stuff. It was usually the guy who was a lawyer or a college professor who was not happy with his station in life, even though he'd made it to where he wanted to be. He got his degree and he got a great job and he made all this money and he's got a big house and he's got this and he's got that. Like I knew that kid. I knew people in that situation. I identify at the time when I first saw the movie, I identify with the father figure now, or not the father figure, but the father now, Ethan Hawke's character, and the way that he grows as a human being. Like, it's literally just a movie about moments and watching every character in this movie grow up literally over the span of 12 years. And the fact that he achieved this and it actually works, none of the actors died or backed out, right, or like, just the huge risk that Linklater took in making this thing to begin with is fascinating to me as somebody who likes filmmaking and is interested in film. But there are just those little moments throughout this movie that just hit me every single time I watch it. But I don't know. I mean, when you say coming of age movies, like, this is like the ultimate literal coming of age movie. You literally watch this kid come of age, until he's in college, like the description said.
Yeah, I'll be straight up. I remember, because this is something I actually really miss doing with my grandmother, God rest her soul. She and I would, every year around the Oscar season, we would try to watch as many of the movies that were up. And this one had a lot of buzz. It was this and Birdman. Mm-hmm. That was the year where they were against each other. Birdman ended up winning. And I love Birdman. I think Birdman's like a perfect movie and I adore it. And I remember watching this one with her. This was I think we rented it on VOD. We weren't in the movie theater. And we both had the same reaction when it ended. We looked at each other, and I'll never forget it. She said, quote, "That was a dud." And I remember being like, oh shit. I was like, I'm right there with you.
Grandma's a tough critic. Damn.
Yeah, that was my nana. And I remember we got some
thumbs down. That's what she said.
We got dude, the amount of time that woman shattered my heart with movie reviews, I couldn't even it would be a whole other show. But we got some rainbow sherbet, and we talked about a lot of our problems with the movie. Now, right off the bat, I like Linklater too. I like almost all of his movies. I really do. School of Rock means the world to me. That's a movie. I was like 6 when that came out. I saw it in the movie theater with my dad, and I left the theater. I wanted to be a punk rocker. I was like, granted, it didn't happen, but I loved that movie. I was the right age, the right time, the right place. It was just a beautiful thing. And I'm a big fan of a lot of his movies. Bernie is a really underrated movie. Dazed and Confused, another really good one. Hitman. He's made a lot of good movies, but To me, I could never get past that. I think the movie has a good gimmick. I like the idea of, hey, let's shoot this gorilla. Let's shoot 10, 20 minutes over 12 years, right? And then put the whole thing together. They had about 200,000 per year. They shot the whole thing on 35. Don't mind the idea. I think the idea is very ambitious, and I can tip my hat to that. I don't deny that. My issues is mainly two things, with the script and with the performances. I think the script is, and he's admitted this, they didn't have a completed script. They kind of went as they went along. He had a beginning and he had an ending. Like that ending shot where they're in, he's off to college and he's in the whatever, the desert. That was always, he wrote that, in 2002. But the rest of it was all kind of fill in as you go, because obviously the world changes and things like that. So I understand it must have been hard to come up with an entire game plan and predict what's going to happen over the next several years and stuff. But I think it's clear that they had no structure or story here. It was just kind of a, let's do this as we move along. And that to me sticks out like a sore thumb for this particular project.
Well, let me ask your opinion.
Sure.
Just real quick, your opinion. Yeah. Do you feel that every movie needs a story?
Not necessarily. I do think you should have some sort of a direction, though, as opposed to he had a beginning and an end. He didn't have a middle. And for a movie that's 3 hours long, that's a lot of middle. That's a lot of lettuce and tomato and meat and mayo and all these things.
But to me, that's kind of the point of the movie, is that our lives, we know we have a beginning, we know we have an end. And the middle is just like a random assortment of moments. There's no great achievement or big thing that we're all really working toward. We're literally just living moment to moment. We don't know what's coming around the corner. We don't know what's happening next. Sometimes the biggest moment is going to see Harry Potter for the first time, or or something like that.
And I was a kid. I remember seeing that particular one in the movie theater with my sister on the opening.
Did you get the book? Did you dress up like in the movie?
I'm pretty sure. What age was he supposed to be? I think he's a year older than me. This guy, LR. So I grew up in this era. You would think I would totally. Oh yeah, that's my childhood. Don't get me wrong. To me, there are a lot of good coming of age movies with gimmicks. Moonlight had a gimmick, right? Let's tell the boy of Chiron, the teenage of Chiron, and the adult, the man he becomes, with 3 different actors, half hour over 90 minutes. I like that movie. I like the gimmick. I don't know if you've ever seen Palindromes. That's one of the best coming of age movies with a gimmick, where it's about this girl named Aviva, which in and of itself is a palindrome. And every scene, a different actress plays the girl. It starts off as a little girl with, blonde hair. Then the next scene, she's a ginger. Next scene, she changes race. Next scene, she changes age. And the whole point of it, and this is Salon's movie, who did Welcome to the Dollhouse. The whole point of it was that you can see her in all these different forms, but it's still just a kid at the end of the day. And this is her journey. And I love that movie. To me, it's a very interesting journey that she takes. And the fact that all these different actresses had to kind of try to portray the same character, despite being of all sorts of different backgrounds and ages and things like that. That's a gimmick, again, that I thought was done well, and the story works. This, it really, I don't know, it just doesn't interest me. A lot of it was Patricia Arquette with abusive husbands, which is not pleasant to watch, and I get it's not supposed to be. But the acting, man, I thought the acting in that scene towards the beginning where I hate squash and the guy throws the cup at the table, I was like, man, I would have did a retake. That is an awful, awful acting. And I'm sorry. I like Patricia Arquette. An Oscar for this? I think she's off. I think she's the worst one. I really do. I think she was the worst. I like Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke is the only positive I can give you is Ethan Hawke. Everybody else, my God, the boy. Could they have picked somebody more less interesting? Holy shit. I have nail polish. I have no personality. What the fuck? Boyhood, I cared about Chiron. I cared about the character. Same with Aviva and Palindromes. I don't care about this kid. He's so
But that's the point. That's the point of the movie, is that he's just a kid. He's not supposed to be interesting. He's just a kid trying to figure out who he is and what he wants to be. If he knew what he was, I agree. He is very flat. There's no performance there. I mean, just the fact that he even stuck around. Think about another kid actor that would have that you could put in this role. Imagine Corey Feldman. You took Corey Feldman at age
that would be a lot different movies
or something, and then followed him for the next 12 years. How cool would that be? But no, just the fact that he's stuck. He's in this film, and you see him grow up over the span of 12 years. Like he's literally a different person every year that they shot. Because when you're that young, you change every year. Like you
Right.
change so much from the time that you're from the time that you're 18 to the time that you're 20, let alone your entire adolescence. So I think part of that has to do with the fact that he kind of has to be as even keeled as he is, because you can't really go with, oh, here's a big character arc. Now he's, this, but then a year later, he's something completely different. He can't pull off what he pulled off a year ago or vice versa. So I think some of that may be just technically speaking, they had to go that route. Maybe. I don't know if he's really done much acting or whatever since. I'm not overly enamored with the kid that they got to play him. I think it's amazing that he's as photogenic as he is as he grew older, because
Right.
that's always a risk. You see a cute kid, and then by the time he turns 18, he looks like Edward Furlong or something, and you're like, God damn, what happened
Corey
to the kid from
Feldman.
T2 or Corey Feldman? So the fact
Yeah.
that he aged great, there's a lot of things that, and I think that's a big part of it too for me, is there's a lot that could have gone wrong with this movie that somehow they pull off by the end of it. I think a big one was the girl that I think is Lorelai Linklater that played the young girl, the sister.
Right. And I don't know if you know the whole story with her, but she about 4 years in didn't want to do it anymore. And she said to him,
You could
like,
tell.
Kill me off. I don't want to. She's awful in it. Oh my God.
Especially by the end of the movie when she's just like there, and yeah, but again, you're also, I guess I overlook a lot of like the things that I would normally look at for in a movie in terms of like story or character performance, stuff like that. And I'm just more enamored with the gall that Linklater did this type of movie, the way that he did it, and just the different moments in this kid's life that I don't know, just ring true to me. I don't know. It's just like, oh, okay. Like I remember that. I remember going through that. I remember my first love. When they cut from, they're in downtown Austin, him and his girlfriend, and they're just like so in love, and they have all these plans for the future, and then without like a title card that says 1 year later or anything like that, it just cuts to the next scene, and all of a sudden they're in a horrible breakup and they hate each other, and you're just like, oh yeah, I remember those days. I was there once. I remember like. Shit changes so much from year to year when you're in your adolescence. And I think it just captured that so well for me that I still to this day, when I watch this movie, like I said, I watched it again last night, sat through the whole thing in one sitting. And I was just like, just watching. It's literally like Miss C in the comments here. You're literally just watching a kid grow up from an outsider's perspective. I mean, and that's interesting to me. And I've always said, like, sometimes I like a good movie where nothing happens. You're just watching somebody do the dishes or something, and it's like, like I like to just see life represented on screen. Sometimes I like over the top, sometimes I like fantasy, but sometimes I just want to watch real life projected,
Yeah, and I think I would even go as far as to say I think that's why a lot of people were so enamored with it. I mean, this is one of like 11 movies in the history of cinema that has a perfect score from Metacritic. It was up for Academy Awards. It was praised. From what I understand, it was the Bubble Boy. Like this was the runner-up for Academy Awards for Best Picture that year, and it ultimately went to Birdman. And like, listen, like I can get your appreciation of it, and I totally see that. I guess I just see so many technical flaws with the acting, especially like there's so many particular scenes in this that I could just rip apart. The scene where they're all drinking beer and, oh no, man, I drink plenty of beer, I just don't want one right now. I was like, my God, this is like wooden acting, like to the point where I'm just kind of like, could we have got another shot here? Like this is really feels like getting it done to me in a lot of ways. The acting, like
probably what a lot of it was just getting it done, and I'm cool with that. Like I guess that's why it just doesn't bother me, because I love like those old cinema verite, the French New Wave movies from the 60s. I love watching those and just sticking with it, because there's a lot of that in those movies, like Cleo from 5 to 7, or fucking Breathless or something like that, where you're literally like, technically speaking, yeah, they're shooting a scene where somebody's walking down the street of a busy city, and everybody that they're passing is looking directly at the camera like, why are they shooting this? But we're just supposed to ignore that because fuck it, who cares? Like that's not what it's about. It's about this person's life. And Cleo from 5 to 7 would be a good like coming of age movie in a weird way, but
Yeah.
it's not one that anybody wants to fucking talk about. It's just but it's one of those movies where it's just like you're just watching this person's life for a couple of hours and what they're doing. And I don't know. I like it. I totally understand. I totally get it. Like from what you're saying, and I had many of the same thoughts watching it last night, where I was like, yeah, some of the acting isn't great, and some of the the technology, and there's really no story to it. It's literally just moment by moment. But I think that's the whole point by the end of it.
Let me ask you this, because like again, I don't really enjoy the journey of this movie whatsoever. I've seen the movie twice, and it's just I thought it was torture both times.
I'm surprised you watched it again after the first viewing.
Well,
I feel like it's one of those movies that if you don't like it the first time, you're just not gonna like it. Because I will say I like this movie a lot more the first time that I saw it, and every time I watch it again, I like it less and less. Because it's just like, all right, I've been here, I've seen this, I've been on this journey before. I don't need to go on it again.
Right. Yeah. Like, despite my issues with, I think a lot of the acting is wooden, other than Ethan Hawke. I really do. I think a lot of the story, I think a lot of the, or lack thereof, all that stuff just doesn't interest me. To me, the Patricia Arquette thing was one note throughout the whole thing. It was just, how many shitty boyfriends can we fit in 3 hours? That's kind of how it felt to me. Whereas Ethan Hawke, it was like, oh, I'm political. I'm going to go on people's lawns, rip out their signs. Let's talk about Star Wars. Let's talk about baseball. Like, it was just like, it felt so like, let's pick a topic and have Ethan Hawke talk about it. And he's good. I will say he's the only saving grace I would say this movie has is I think his performance is okay. My biggest issue is the finale. And that scene where, my boy, oh God, Patricia's so crying and all this stuff. And they sent him off to fucking college and they're in the fucking desert. And then this dumb bitch, I'm sorry, but this dumb bitch, it pisses me off so fucking bad. This lady, like, I don't think like we like sees like moments, but like, I think like the moments like sees like us. I don't even know if I said enough likes. It's so like, what? You're kidding me? That's the last line of your 3-hour movie about a 12-year journey from this fucking kid who's now in the fucking desert? It's the moment like sees us like us? Really? That was I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding. Like it triggered me. It took a bad movie and then instantly I was like, oh, and now you're trying to justify the last 3 hours by this dumb airhead saying the moment seizes us, we don't seize the moment. Okay, no carpe diem for you. No Dead Poet Society, Ethan Hawke. Get the fuck out of here. I fucking hate that last line. It literally takes the movie from like a 2 to a 1. I hate it.
Well,
sorry.
It's not, yes, I will agree. It's not the greatest line in the world. And
sorry, I went too far.
It's not the greatest line in the world, but it is just one of those movies where it's just like, okay, now it ends. All right, no, it's done. But I'm good with it. I don't need a big finale or a big moment where he has some weird awakening or or something. He's just, the whole point of the whole movie is that, yeah, as a boy going through adolescence, trying to figure out who he is, what he wants to be, where he wants to go, and the various friends and people that he encounters through that journey. It's all unremarkable, but that's life. We're all unremarkable.
That might be my biggest gripe. It's just, and I don't use this word a lot when I talk about cinema. He's a rather boring guy to watch for 12 years. It's just there's nothing. He doesn't really get into trouble. His big, I painted my nails, and my mom's 8th husband, who's a drunk and from the military, does not approve, and like that. To me, the ending could have just easily been, hey, look where we are now. Like Patricia Arquette literally just hugging him. I love you, son. Good luck in college. Like that to me would have been a way more heartfelt ending and more earned than just going in the middle of the desert, wandering around, talking about moments. Like I don't know. Like it bothered me. That ending is.
I can tell. See, no. You said you weren't going to get worked up.
I tried. I was good for most of it.
You did good. You did good.
A dumb lady. My God.
Yeah.
The worst. I don't know. This was fun. I like talk. This is what people need to do. Like they don't sit down and just civilly discuss things that they disagree on. Like we for over an hour and 45 minutes, we talked about 2 things we agree on and love. Then for the past, whatever minutes, we talked about something we disagree on, but there was never a mama joke. There was never a, something, you're just an idiot or you didn't get it. It was civil.
You're stupid.
You're a goddamn moron. No, none of that. Just friendly banter, and that's why I appreciate civil debates. So I appreciate you actually picking this movie. It's at first, I won't lie to you, I went, huh? Like my eyes about bulged that past my glasses.
When I hear the term coming of age, like to me, like this is the ultimate coming of age movie because it literally is you're watching a kid come of age. But there were just so many that I had in mind that I was trying to figure out. Another link later. I'm dazed and confused, but I feel like that one gets talked about to death.
It does.
But again, one that I watched again recently that I just love, Dazed and Confused. Another one I was thinking of was 13.
Too, it doesn't seem like this movie has the legs of the movies we've mentioned so far. Like I know it's only 12 years old, but it doesn't. I don't feel like anybody talks about this movie anymore. It was like of that year, and that was it.
Yeah. And I think it's like I said, and it's even the case for me. I think it's just one of those movies that it's a journey you go on one time, and then after that, you're kind of over it. Like this was the first time that I watched this movie in quite a while, and I liked it less this time watching it again. But I remember watching it the first time, I was just so enamored. I was like, oh my God, where are they going with this? And there is like an undertone of danger throughout this movie. I always feel like that never quite pays off. And I think that's also a thing that people may not like about it. Is there, to me, like watching this movie, I always feel like something horrible is about to fucking happen at any moment, and it never does. And maybe that's another thing too that Linklater was going for, because even in life, especially when you're young, you're always waiting for that piano to drop with anxiety and just, like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? And it's usually, everything is usually okay. Everything usually is okay. Even the scene when the drunk stepdad is driving drunk in his Mustang, and you get that vibe. You're like, oh shit, they're about to have a wreck, and something serious is about to happen now. And then it doesn't. It's just like, okay. And then the next thing happens. But it's just like, so I think that too, there was a feeling of discomfort that I had watching this movie the first time, because I didn't know what was going to happen next. So it kind of kept me on edge. We're watching it now. I know what happens, and it's just like, all right.
Takes a little bit of the tension out of it. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I hear you completely. Yeah, no, dude, this was a lot of fun. I always like strolling down, movie lane with you and talking about flicks. And this was, it was cool to talk about something a little bit different from horror with you, because I know we've done tons of streams together, but not any really quite like this. So I'm happy that
I'll jump at the opportunity to talk about anything non-horror or anything non-Romero anytime you want, man, because I've been looking forward to love all three of these movies. You like two of them, but I like all three of them. But yeah, I chose Boy, but there were so many others that we could talk about. One I was thinking of, I don't know, have you ever seen Zabriskie Point from Antonioni?
No, never heard of it.
71, I think. It's a total like hippie coming of age movie in the desert. I would love to get your thought on a movie like that, because
what's it called again?
Zabriskie Point.
Zabriskie Point. Let me look it up.
Zabriskie Point from like 1971, directed by Antonioni. But it's one of those movies that you watch, and again, it's kind of like Boyhood, where like nothing fucking happens, but it's so beautifully shot. It feels like something that was shot in this day and age.
Oh, Rod Taylor's in it too. Oh shit, yeah, I'll totally give this a go. Okay, is it on like Criterion or something like that?
I think so.
This looks like a movie that would be on Criterion to me.
It is. But yeah, it was an interesting. I don't know if I liked the movie or not, but it was definitely one that I thought about quite a bit after I watched it. Where I was like, there were a lot about that movie that kind of stuck with me. But there's just so many like coming of age, counterculture movies that I'm totally down to talk about.
Okay, but yeah, and the counterculture, there's so many, like Easy Rider or Lolita, or like there's so many counterculture movies. Like I you could really make a series out of counterculture aspect of it. Tonight was much more like more so like coming of age and like I guess counterculture with like the SLC Punk stuff. But yeah, no, I'd be open to having you if you ever wanted to come back, do a show like this, and we could each pick a movie, let them pick like the third movie. We could do something like that down the road.
Yeah, man.
I'll totally add Zabriskie Point to the watch list. And actually, you know what? I'll throw one at you if you want to palindrome. Granted, watch palindromes by yourself.
Palindromes, yes. I remember when that came out, and I remember seeing reviews and people talking about it all the time back when it came out on DVD originally. And I remember seeing it because the DVD cover is like the big black lady walking down the path. You know,
Right.
I remember seeing that all the time and hearing great reviews about it, and just never got around to watching it. I knew it was the guy that made fucking Welcome to the Dollhouse. I love Welcome to the Dollhouse, but it's just one that just kind of I didn't watch at the time, just never got around to it, and then years have passed, and it's just kind of slipped into the distance. So yeah, now I'm gonna write that down, and I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah, no, see, this is great. We both give each other a little recommendation. We can maybe talk with them down the road too. I feel like nothing ever gets fully resolved, right? Yeah, but again, such as Alpha said, that's such as life sometimes. Doesn't always play out the way that you think or anything like that. But yeah. Dude, I want to thank you so much for being a great guest as always. Love streaming with you. And yeah, no, looking forward to your streams upcoming. And I know you promoted that stuff, so I'm very happy that we got to do that. And yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, man. Anytime, my man. It's always a pleasure.
Dude, absolutely, man. All right, everybody. Next week, we will be covering Trilogy of Terror 1 and 2 with Mr. Dan and R at Fever Dreamland Theater. Anthony, you're coming on the show, so we'll be discussing those cool made-for-TV Dan Curtis anthology movies. I'm very excited about that. Little Karen Black, little Lisette Anthony action, if you will. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then that following Sunday, I'm interviewing Lauren Ashley Carter, pre-recorded, and then that will air sometime in June. So very much looking forward to the next couple weeks on the channel. Going to be a lot of fun, and thank you guys all for watching tonight. This was a lot of fun. But everybody, if you're catching the replay, thank you. Love the show. Thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for checking out the Graveyard tonight, my friend.
See you, Bonnie.
Everybody, have a safe, happy, healthy weekend, and we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. Too sweet peace. Good night, everybody. Cheers to the weekend.